Two channels coming together. Oh yeah. True crime team, you better know. After the facts and defense rest, let's go. Bringing justice, doing their best. Woo! Facts are flying, truths unfolding. Criminals shaking, their stories holding. Defense rest, got the legal mind. Together they solve, justice they find. All rise, the truth's in the house. Y'all bring it up, breaking it down. Hear that call? Facts and defense, a mighty blend. Oh yeah, justice ain't gonna bend. Gavel hits, the facts commence. Defensive moves, we've got the sense. Teamwork strong, no crime secret. Yeah, they're bringing justice. Best believe it. Ooh, yeah.
Hi, everybody.
Wakey, wakey, hands off, snaky.
Everybody's up, are they?
Good morning, America.
Not quite Robin Williams
That was
imitation there.
Really, really crap rendition. Sorry.
It was very bad.
How about I do a how you doing?
All right, how y'all?
All right. I love him. He's amazing.
Two crazy Aussie chicks.
Nothing unusual here. Totally legit professional.
That's it. Because we cut out the proof.
Yes, we can edit that shit out. Welcome to day 2 of Lindy Chamberlain. I think it was called Lively. Our Aussie. Good morning. Good
morning. Teresa. So one of the biggest cases in Australia.
Oh, for sure.
Made so many historical moments that, and we all bitched about it through our teenage years.
And that that comment where she says, a dingo's got my baby, has been used in so many comedy shows and all sorts of stuff. It's just...
Hey, but at least with The Simpsons, it was after the fact. Not before the fact. Because, they predicted that Arnie Schwarzenegger would be governor of California. They predicted Ronald Reagan was going to be president or someone, George Bush or something. It was amazing stuff they predicted.
It was Trump, wasn't it? Was it Trump? I don't know.
Could have been, yeah.
I don't follow politics, though.
Not really. I just... Right, and we have to vote in Australia. Yeah.
Yes. How are we? How's it? Have you got your power still back on, Tricia?
Don't tell us it went off again.
Poor bugger. Did you see the photo I put up yesterday of her house?
No.
I still got it.
Yeah, they freak me out how they know things too, Teresa.
There you go. Oh, that's Teresia's place.
That's pretty to look at, not be there.
Yeah. Look, I put a couple of different ones in here. Just FYI.
Uluru.
Yeah, I like this one. This is cute.
Oh, that's pretty.
It is. Just background. Some Australian outback.
Some Aussie outback. It wouldn't have been, I reckon, because Michael Chamberlain was taking so many photos because he was an amateur photographer. Would have been nice to have had some of his. We should actually look that up. I didn't look that up. I might do that.
I'll put us back to ta-da.
Ta-da.
Where's Elizabeth when you need her?
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. So day 2
Day
It's
2.
over to wrong way. Madam here, choo-choo. That one there.
Oh, that one there. Yeah.
Hang
Well,
on,
so we're
hang
coming
on,
from her
hang on.
over to me.
What is it?
This,
what do you do when you poke them in the ear? What's it called? A wet willy.
oh no, it's not working. I think what you've got to do is when I'm poking mine over, you kind of got to stick yours
Yeah.
in your own ear. That's how it works.
Oh yeah, yeah. We'll try it. I'll poke you, and you put your finger in your ear. Your ear. Wrong hand.
I
You
think we're.
shit. Other hand. Other hand. You put that
What?
finger in your ear.
This
So it
one?
looks like
Oh,
looks like
I've got to move over here.
yeah.
There.
Oh, shit.
We're unco.
Well, it's opposite. It's opposite to what the camera
I
showed
know.
first.
I keep going to say, oh, look at my logo on my shirt.
So
Willie over there.
Ted's taken the stage, and we've got some interesting bits and pieces for you all. And I'm going to be
Yeah.
a bit of a bitch about yesterday's goddamn Dobbit hearing with that absolute dipshit. He is on top of the dipshit file right now.
Jodie is not pleased with the Karen Reid trial.
No, I'm not pleased with that dickhead, Brennan. I'm not pleased.
Oh, I know. As I said, I fell asleep for 2 hours and woke up to him asking the same question.
I got
But
into
anyway.
a debate with Uda for about 3 hours. I put up the stream and it was no sooner did I type in, this is a non-commentary stream, 3 hours later. Oops.
You've had enough of the Karen Reid, have you? Okay, well, since we've had enough of Karen Reid at the moment and we're a bit cranky about it, we'll focus on Lindy Chamberlain and
Yay.
Azaria. Who it was really all about was Azaria.
Yeah. And she was
But I don't
beautiful
really.
too.
Oh,
So
such a
cute.
beautiful baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a couple of the things I just thought we'd have a look at in regard to last night's movie, because some of the stuff, obviously, they had a little bit of artistic license
Yeah.
where, okay, that didn't happen. And obviously, with a movie, they've got to do that a little bit. There was also another series which I think's actually been taken down since the last inquest, where that they changed the birth certificate to say she died of a dingo attack. And it was a TV series. I think it was about 6 parts. And what it was, which I can't show you any of it because it's obviously been disappeared, but it was very graphic in its nature, and it actually did show Lindy unaliving the child and doing what the police and that said she did in the first trial. So yeah, it was pretty graphic and gross, I believe. I did believe watching it a long time ago. And as I said, I could only find reference to it and not actually it. So I think it has been taken down. Yeah. But what I did find was the Lindy tapes, which was done by 7 News Spotlight in 2020. And it did show up, it's an hour long, and it really shows exactly what happened in a very concise manner in a short time of an hour over the whole time from when the baby was taken right up until when they changed that birth certificate to say, no, she was stolen by a dingo. And it's got some quite interesting points. So we're not going to watch the whole video. What we're going to do is just go through a few of the key moments on that video. So I'm just going to share the screen and we'll bring that up.
Yay, yay, yay! Ay, 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 ay. Oh, and just FYI, while everyone's there is a GoFundMe for Ty that's been set up now, just to give him a hand getting back on his feet, and to help with some of the civil court proceedings that he will be undertaking. It's in chat if you'd like it.
Awesome. We can jump on there and have a look. So let's
Ooh.
jump onto this one here, which now I just want to bring this one over here so I can. Oh, okay.
Oh,
No,
do you want
can't
me to
do
put?
that. I moved it. I moved it, so therefore it's not picking up the right one. Okay, we will stop that and do that again.
It's all right. Do you want me to put the overlay up that we had
Oh,
on
yes,
yesterday?
please.
Yep.
Yeah, that was so pretty with the proteas and everything. Some of our beautiful
I like doing
wildlife
that sort
here
of
in
shit.
Australia. Yeah, cool. Okay, so
Gotta
now
find
I'm
it.
going to share the. Oh, that's in media.
Oh, there it is.
That's it. So pretty. Okay, so let's share my screen again. Oh, a window is what I want. The Lindy Chamberlain share. That's it. Okay, pop it up on the stage,
Yay!
and I need to put. Okay, I just need to do. I've lost it. That'll be a fun time, aren't I? Okay, I think I've put it. There it is. Got it. Okay, so now we're going to put captions on, which I've done, and we're going to full screen
Yay!
that. Yay!
Roll tapes.
Oh, if I full screen that, then I can't see.
No, that's why you have to do all the settings before you do that.
Oh, that's mean. Oh, I just realised that.
Yeah, just put it in a. Have you got like a segment of your screen that you can can you split your screen into 4 and dump it in on its own open? Do you get what I mean?
Yep, I know what you mean.
Although you have to pause it. Oh, is that Dr. Phil?
That's where you'll see some funny
It
stuff.
looks like him. I swear to God. I swear that was him.
Now, how am I going to do this? Oh, split the screen. Okay, sorry guys,
Yeah.
I've got to learn
So
how to split my screen. I know I can do it,
I think
but will
if you
that allow me to put the same video on two screens?
grab the tab and drag it up to the top of your display screen, and it should
I've
automatically
got it. Got it.
give you the
Yep,
option to
I
drop it
just
in.
saw it. Yeah.
And then you can full screen that little section only, and then you'll still have access to the rest of them. There's a lot of technical shit that goes on behind
Man,
a stream.
I keep going to
And
do it, and it's really hard to do, isn't it?
yeah.
There it is. Ah, I keep missing clicking it down. So I got there, but oh, I got it. I got it. I got it.
So you're starting at what, 2/3 of the way through?
No, no, I will go back to the beginning again. Okay. So I've got four screens here on one screen now.
Yep. Welcome to live
Oh,
streaming.
but then how do I still full screen it?
You can full screen it in that section, in that little section.
Oh, how do I do that?
Bottom right-hand corner of the actual video itself is the
Full
same way you
screen?
would normally, yeah, of that video.
No, it doesn't.
The screen that you can see on there now,
Oh,
right at the bottom right-hand corner has a square with like
yep.
click on that. That full screens it.
Okay, so I must have a different one then. I must have two open. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, guys.
That's all right. It's only one way to learn. It
I
isn't
think
fucking
I've put it.
easy. That's why I said you got to dump them and have them there ready to go, because otherwise it's confusing.
Yeah, tell me about it.
There we go. It's
There
Dr.
it is
Phil.
there. It is
Swear.
Dr. Phil. There it is there.
Or dump all your other tabs behind your StreamYard screen and use that one screen as where you pull everything up and full screen it. Does that make sense?
But like I've got it on a shared window and I full screen it and it just goes
There
to
you go.
normal full screen. But it just goes to normal full screen. I still can't look
Oh.
at the other bit that I want to look at.
Oh. Phil's brother from another mother.
Yeah, so I think I'll just go back to that. Come back to stream. Right, and then just move that down a bit. No, I'm just going to have to get rid of this.
Just pull your tabs down onto the other screen. Can you jump them across from one screen to the next?
Oh, my other tabs are still there.
Yeah, just drag and drop them onto so they go behind your StreamYard.
Oh, okay.
Do you get what I mean?
Okay. They're all on another screen anyway. So I open this in a separate window, not a tab.
Yes, yes. Good morning, Mr. Uda.
Oh, good morning, Udahep. I'm going crazy again.
Did you notice?
Okay, what
Sorry.
I'm going to... You talk to Udi for a sec. I'm just going
Did you
to do
notice
something.
I've dedicated an entire stream to you tomorrow night? Or tomorrow morning? It's freezing there, isn't it? It's 69 degrees Fahrenheit here at 20 past midnight. Oh, Tricia, that's awful. That's concerning. No, it's me trying to explain the differences between the trying to collide the law and scientific medicine into the one because it's impossible. The law is rigid and set and black and white, and medical science has so many variables in it that it can't be quantified in the same context. And it's like Dr. Reed Dr. Russell trying to ask Brennan to combine a Dobbit hearing with a Spencer hearing to put a dog on death row. That's the analogy. So the questions he was asking were that kind of thing. It just they didn't make sense, and I thought I need to explain that because you can't quantify something that is so totally variable when against something that is completely black and white. The law doesn't change whether you have, no matter what size you are, no matter what the temperature is, no matter how tall you are, whether you've had enough to drink, whether you're hydrated. It makes no difference to the law. It's the same. So that's what I'm going to do tomorrow, which should be fun.
Okay.
Well, it's not a
We're ready to
popularity
go.
contest, my love. That's your opinion, and you're absolutely entitled to it. All right. Bring it, baby.
Okay. Here we
Let's do
go.
this.
Let's do it. Okay, cool. So I have a few little... see, it's done it to me again. That's right.
I can't hear it. You might have muted the page.
Oh, that's what I've got to do for that, right? Oh my gosh.
No, no sound.
Can we hear it? I unmuted it.
No. No, unmute the page of the tab.
I did
Right.
that. I did that too.
Right,
Oh,
mouse click there.
unmute site. Right, wrong one.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go again.
No.
Can you hear it?
No.
So I might have to boost.
No, there's no
No, I've
sound
done that.
whatsoever.
Really?
Mhm.
You're kidding me.
No.
I can hear it in my headphones. Why is it?
I don't know. Can you answer that, Lassie? The only thing I can think of is the page, the actual tab has been. Oh, how many tabs have you got open? You might have to unmute a couple.
All of them.
Not all, but a few. Sometimes you just have to check them. Sometimes it mutes a few of the tabs.
I gotcha.
And if you can't get it working, I've got it here.
I'll just unshare it for a sec.
So this is the Lindy tapes, the mystery behind the famous quote, "A dingo's got my baby." And it was done by Channel 7 over here, 7 News. And it's a complete overview from then till now. Pretty much, it explains all of the goings-ons.
It says so. Oh, I'm muting everything. Okay, I think they're all unmuted now.
All right. No.
Can you hear it?
No.
You're kidding.
No. Is it in your computer settings? Under your sound? Do you want me to do it, doll?
But then I can't manage where it goes, can I?
No, no. But you can tell me to stop.
Settings, devices.
that extension thing that I downloaded, it's actually when I opened up that video, it's given me an overview, like a what do you call it? Like a blurb, and then it's actually got timestamps of each of the highlights. It's already created it.
Yeah, I know, but if I go full screen, I can't click on them. Do you understand what I mean?
Oh, yes. All right. So you want to pop them out. You want to pop the chat. Do that. There is a way you can pop that. I've forgotten. Down the bottom, there should be a little chat symbol. It says chat with video. And then it brings up a menu to the side.
Where's this? Sorry. Oh.
It's where the chat normally is on the side of my video.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, down the bottom. There's like a little chat box. Oh, okay. So you got key moments. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh, this is different. So.
Okay, I think I worked it out. Let's go. Oh, okay. Can I grab that? The key moments there. Anyway, go. Let's go there. Can you hear it? Why is this?
I don't know, darling.
I don't understand. Because it's not muted or anything. I'm just going to have to do it here then without... Oh, you can't hear it though. Yeah, do you want to put it up and I'll tell you where to go?
All right. You can tell me where to go. Oh, I got to unmute. Can you hear that?
That's, yeah, yep, I can hear
You hear
that.
that? Okay, cool.
Yep.
I had the feeling that I had let down the Chamberlains. I have been made over the years to realise what a terrible, terrible injustice Mr. Chamberlain has received.
Somebody talk to Alice Springs.
David, it's Ross here, mate.
Yes, Ross.
Can you hear me?
I
Right.
can hear you fine, mate.
Here we go.
You might remember the news on this day.
When it came, the announcement took everyone across the nation completely by surprise.
The verdict came shortly before 20 to 9 Darwin time. The jury had filed back into the witness box, and Acting Chief Justice James Muirhead said to the jury, "How do you find the accused, Alice Lynn Chamberlain?" The foreman of the jury, standing, said, "Guilty."
Young woman, pregnant, in the back of a police car, in utter disbelief.
Headed for a 4x4-metre cell in the women's section of Darwin's Berrima Jail.
Found guilty of murdering her baby girl. The whole country hated her.
She's guilty, well, she should stay there for good, eh?
No matter what, you would certainly have heard this.
There wasn't time to go and tell people. I just yelled out, "Has anyone got a torch?" Dingo's got my baby.
You might think you know the Azaria Chamberlain story. I'm sorry, but you don't.
You don't.
Thought we might brighten your day for you. We've got confirmed.
Check this out.
She's a religious nutter.
I just someone became aware of it, that something was there, and I turned this Dingo just intently looking at me. I'll never forget it.
The baby was murdered. disposed of it that night. I think we've got it.
Want to make sure I've heard that correctly. You called the police and he said to you,
It can't be done. She's been guilty anyhow, and you hung up.
Yeah.
Well, I took a photo of the dingo from inside the van.
could this be the dingo that took Azaria Chamberlain?
We think it was, yes.
So these are other people that were there and had photos and evidence.
The verdict in Mrs. Chamberlain's case, guilty.
You pack of bastards.
There is always a rainbow after every storm. There must be a rainbow somewhere in this.
This is the bit.
You want me to stop?
If Australia has a spiritual centre, it's here.
It's
Uluru.
here. Uluru.
Dreamtime stories say it was shaped by spirits, the sandstone scarred from their battles. After that came life and rebirth. But the revelations from this sacred ground are not finished yet.
It
In
is
1980, Willow Holden Tirana pulled into a dusty campsite here at Uluru. Inside,
Morning. How are we? She just appears. You come right at the good time. We've just actually started this overview of everything that's happened in this case so far. And Tan, I just sent you the highlights with the timestamps via email if you want to.
Oh, okay, cool.
it was a family of 5. They'd come to see
Just tell me
this
which one you want to go to and I'll click
magnificent
on it.
sight. The Chamberlains were quiet, unassuming, a pastor and his wife, 2 young boys, and a 9-week-old baby, Azaria. How close was the Chamberlains' tent to your camper van?
20, 30 metres away.
So these people never got to
There's no other
testify.
campsite between us.
The night Azaria was taken,
The defence, like her, the defence got no evidence whatsoever. They were handed nothing. They got no
No.
exculpatory evidence whatsoever. They weren't allowed to test anything. They only had the Crown's supposed experts' opinions to go off.
Hmm.
They had no defence whatsoever.
Murray Haby and his family were at the same campsite. He is one of the last surviving witnesses, and incredibly, parts of his story remain untold. There's numerous reports of dingoes being in the area around that campsite. Did you see any that night?
Yes, we did. We saw one come in from, it would have been southwest corner of the camping ground. Then it came up to our van and we threw a chop bone out to it.
This is the problem. Pause here,
Dingo
please.
is what's called an apex predator.
Because they're
The problem
fed.
with dingoes is they're a wild animal. And, I mean, you have the same thing with wolves and coyotes, bears, I suppose, as well. And that's where there are certain areas in Australia that are heavy tourist destinations where even us as Australians are fools and we feed these wild animals. And what happens is they become complacent around humans when previously they were scared of humans. And they can make think that your little baby is food, and they can actually do what exactly happened to Lindy Chamberlain's baby.
Yep.
And not only zipping up your tent, but putting away all your food and milk and everything of a night when you go to bed, because I can tell you right now, I've seen many a campsite on Fraser Island, which is now named Cargyle, or something like that. Yes, it's no longer Fraser Island. Like Ayers Rock, it's not Ayers Rock anymore. It is Uluru. It's not formerly Ayers Rock. It's always been Uluru. Is the thing. Yeah, so it's not formerly Ayers Rock or formerly Fraser Island, is how they say it now, politically correctly. And I personally have been on Fraser Island and had a dingo. Like I said, he was stalking me, but he obviously wasn't. But this is part of the big problem in Australia is that people do think these are lovely little puppies,
Yeah,
and they're
let's
not.
feed them.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that was one area that, yeah, they showed them feeding it. He did wrong. If you want to
Oh,
jump to
you
12
got more
minutes,
snow. Did I miss another snowstorm this weekend? Oh, T.
oh my gosh. So do you actually get out of the house when it's
No,
snowing like that?
no, no.
You just completely snowed in. Oh, wow.
Fuck.
Don't envy you there.
I mean, it looks really pretty,
Oh,
but yeah, nah.
yes.
All right, where am I
And
jumping to?
now 23, 21.
The car?
The floor, the belt buckle, the handle. But most importantly, here, underneath the glove box.
Oh, the
Chamberlains
arterial spray.
became public enemy number one. The forensic evidence was overwhelming, so a second coroner's inquest was held. This would be very different from the first.
Can you talk to us for a moment, please? Would you like to say anything about having to return here?
Listen for the hostile reaction from people at the airport. Remember, these are innocent people. And inside the coroner's court, this is their 9-week-old daughter being talked about here.
Mrs. Cool said blood was found on a pair of scissors. An extract of that blood proved to be of fetal origin.
The inquest was also told of fetal or baby's bloodstains in the Chamberlain's car, said to have been sprayed from a small artery while the heart was still beating.
Is it a danger in a case like this to be so focused on proving what you believe happened?
There's always a danger in that. Always a danger. To me, it's just human nature. It's wonderful to say you should be utterly detached. They thought they were doing their job.
Professor Cameron.
I'm sure they had a sense of rightness in it, but I've lived long enough in the law to know that what is apparently the case frequently isn't.
The findings of the second inquest could not have been more different. Lindy and Michael were arrested and charged.
Lindy and Michael Chamberlain will go on trial. In a sensational end to the second inquest, Mrs. Chamberlain will be tried for murder, Mr. Chamberlain for assisting his wife to escape punishment.
Incredibly, in the end, the death of a little girl became a joke,
You're all the way in Australia.
a punchline.
Hey, I think I hear a dingo eating your baby.
Yeah, well, I have lost my fiancé, the poor baby.
Maybe the dingo ate your baby.
Big thunder.
I'm sorry, a dingo ate your baby.
You know that's a true story. Lady lost a kid.
Get out.
Lindy Chamberlain would be played by the great Meryl Streep.
Dingo's got the baby.
But how did we get to that? And how did a jury get it so wrong?
Yeah.
The dingo's got my baby.
The emotional impact of the trial appears to be having an effect on 7 months pregnant Mrs. Lindy Chamberlain and her pastor husband
No
Michael.
shit, Sherlock.
She was determined to have a...
Just the media circus.
And that was the way she was.
Yep.
So Lindy at the trial, pregnant. How was that viewed?
That went badly for her again.
Pause
She'd
here.
done something wrong in the eyes of the public.
That old guy in the wheelchair and the young man that's presenting this video, they are actually father and son. And he was the one of the journalists that actually believed Lindy and throughout the whole trial and was there for her as one of the only journalists that she could actually trust.
Bloody
Yeah.
hell. And he's a quadriplegic now, yeah?
Yeah. And that's his son presenting this.
Okay.
It was almost as though She was making fun of.
No, the
No.
other two boys were older. One was out of the tent and one was already asleep in the tent. I think it was Regan in the tent. He was 4 or 6.
Correct.
Too
4.
big for,
He was 4. Yeah.
too big for a dingo. Yeah.
Yeah.
A humdinger ate
The judicial system having another baby.
So they
while she's
held
on
a
trial
pregnancy against
for
her as well.
murdering the previous one.
Oh, definitely. And because it was supposed to go to court about 5 months earlier, I guess it's a little bit like the US. They get held up a little bit. And that's when she wanted to get in and have the baby straight away, get pregnant straight away, because the case was only a couple of months away and she'd only be 2 to 3 months at the trial.
Yeah.
But they delayed it.
You didn't elaborate before when with the creative license on what happened to the baby when it was born. Kalia.
What? Oh, yes.
From the movie.
That's correct. From the movie, which we'll go through a bit later when we talk about what the kids are all doing. In the movie, that's more where I want to go on that one. That's okay.
The demeanour of Lindy herself, did that help or hinder her?
Unfortunately, it went against her. I found out later from her that she didn't know what to do. If she was smiling, she'd be taken as someone who wasn't taking things seriously. And if she put on a stern face, she was a sour bitch.
Yep.
So she really struggled with that. And so she just kept the same face on.
Yeah.
The Chamberlains had a public image problem. It shouldn't have mattered, but it did. Lindy and Michael were grieving that they had accepted their loss too quickly for many.
I know how upset Mrs. Chamberlain was. I saw her often, both before and during the trial, exhibit signs of real upset, and Michael too. They were both traumatised by it, and to have the trial superimposed on them, and the public hostility or scepticism.
Where are you up to in this, Jode? I can't see the timeline.
Mr. Barker put directly to Mrs. Chamberlain that she had taken Azaria to
next
the front
5
seat
minutes
of the
is really
family car
interesting.
and cut her daughter's throat. Mr. Barker said a spray of Azaria's blood had gone up under the dashboard and that more blood had flowed down the seat. Mrs. Chamberlain began sobbing uncontrollably and after more questions said, "We're talking about my baby daughter, not some object."
Without a doubt, the evidence from pathologist Joy Cool was devastating. Fetal blood found throughout the Chamberlain's car. Something Lindy and Michael could not explain. The locations that it was found on: towel, scissors, 10-cent coin, door hinge, the carpet, the chamois, the glove box. 22 places in that car, 22 places where they found fetal hemoglobin.
That was the claim. But there was something in the car curdling their reagents.
Back then, Barry Botcher was the key witness for the defence. You saw a problem with them right from the start?
Right from the start. These are not the results you would get if you were testing bloodstains from Azaria Chamberlain.
It was Barry's job to convince the jury the blood tests were wrong. The jury didn't believe him.
It got too technical for them.
Probably far too technical for the jury.
Yep.
I had the feeling that I had let down the Chamberlains. I really felt that.
Felt guilty.
The science behind the prosecution case was deeply flawed, but to the jury, it was compelling. A British expert had identified a bloodied handprint on the back of Azaria's jumpsuit. The cuts were made by scissors, not canine teeth, and the stain around the neck was consistent with a throat wound. Add to that, the Chamberlain's car was basically awash with Azaria's blood. But there was crucial evidence the jury never heard, and it came from right here, the earth at Uluru. Local Indigenous tribes have lived with dingoes at Ayers Rock for thousands of years. Aboriginal trackers were there on the night Azaria was taken.
Yep.
But not one of them
Look at
gave
this.
evidence at the trial.
Nipper, is this a dingo track?
Yeah, that's dingo one. Dingo track.
This is from back then.
We found this buried in the Channel 7 vault.
Where was the bush where the baby was put down?
Yeah, and they've been kept out that way. Pick him up again.
Drop your jaw, my girl.
Lindy gotta get him out. He's not guilty. Dingo is guilty. Because I've been same track. Been around in the tent. Lindy's not guilty.
So that video never came out of the trial.
No.
Lindy Chamberlain on trial for murder. Michael as an accessory. But to convince the jury they were guilty, the prosecution would have to outline how she did it and when.
Yeah.
The prosecution says Lindy was here at the communal barbecue area along with all the campground witnesses. Now, she leaves here with her son Aidan and she goes to the family tent, which is a short walk away. Now, when she gets to the family tent, Aidan goes inside. She leaves him here. Then she walks to the family car, which, by the way, is only meters away. Now,
100% Teresia.
Yeah, they didn't have a defence. They weren't given any evidence that there was no. The Crown didn't share anything, nothing, not one thing, and so they weren't prepared to argue anything. They didn't know what the testing results from the experts actually meant. They couldn't interpret it because the first they heard of it was at trial. They had no idea. They had no hope.
Yeah.
police say she sits in the passenger side seat and she cuts Azaria's throat, stuffing her body into a camera bag. And this is where it gets really tricky because police say she then comes back to the tent, only meters away. She somehow
It actually gets worse, Teresia.
She plants spots of Azaria's blood throughout the tent. Then she leaves here and goes back to the communal barbecue area. All the witnesses are still here and nobody notices anything
She's covered in blood
about her. And all of this took place in 10 minutes or less. 10 minutes or less.
And she had a drop of blood on her.
Yeah.
To convict Lindy Chamberlain, the jury would have to not only accept that impossible scenario, but they would also have to dismiss the witness accounts.
First of the 40-odd witnesses
And they
expected
did.
to be called was Tasmanian woman Mrs. Sally Lowe.
What the
Yeah,
people
the
at the
baby
barbecue heard next could not have happened because, according to police, Azaria was already dead.
Along the track, I observed her. From head to toe, there was no blood on her at all. And she resumed conversation. And then the baby's cry was heard. Three of us heard the baby's cry.
And it was just, I keep getting emotional. It's been 40 years since then. It was gut-wrenching. It was like someone put a knife through you.
The witnesses believe this was the moment the dingo came. It was Azaria's last cry.
The cry that you heard, it was really, really horrific.
The campground witnesses destroyed the police case. And they knew that. And there was one woman, Sally Lowe, who insisted she heard the baby cry out. And they interrogated her, didn't question it, interrogated her for over 2 hours to try and shake her version of events.
During the trial, the jury's hearing all this evidence. Do you remember thinking anything about the jury in particular?
Well, I would have loved to have been in the jury room during the deliberations.
This lady.
Is that Sally Lowe?
Yvonne,
No.
being a jury
Juror.
member in a case like this,
Oh.
a tremendous responsibility. Do you remember?
You're not allowed to do
the
this in
first
Australia.
day in court?
It's illegal.
Oh, absolutely, like it was yesterday.
and you're just thinking, what am I doing here? What am I doing here?
You've probably never heard a jury member speak before. I never have. In most states, it's illegal, but in the Northern Territory,
in Australia,
it's not.
Well, I
'Cause it's
think
a
we all
territory.
had the opinion that she was guilty. Everybody in Darwin thought she was guilty. And I don't know whether it was the press, everything that we read about it. I think everybody just said, she's so guilty. She doesn't even cry.
They're not. They weren't sequestered to not read any of
No.
the news reports or anything like that. So they were
The Northern Territory.
they were affected by everything and
Yeah.
rumours, gossip, you name it.
Thing. And I'm embarrassed to say it because I was led along like everybody else.
What was the result from the first round of votes?
The very first was 3 guilty, 3 not guilty, 3 not sure.
The debate
Yes,
would
it
go on
has.
for hours, but the discussion would always return to the overwhelming forensic evidence.
Eventually, and then eventually, I think it was 32
No,
years later.
we watched the movie last night.
It was 32 years, didn't it take for them to change the birth certificate and
To change the death certificate, yes.
yeah, and then give her a pardon?
No, they were actually not just pardoned. That was the third one. That was where yeah, they were actually found innocent. They changed it. So in the third one, he said he doesn't know what happened to the baby, but he wasn't going to change anything. But they were pardoned in 1986. Yeah, and so it was the fourth one. Then she changed everything. She changed the birth certificate. She said they were innocent, not guilty, you know, rather than unknown was the cause of death. Yeah. But yeah, this juror coming out and saying this stuff, I mean, well, hang on, honey. Why didn't you say something if you didn't really? Yes, everybody else thought she was guilty, but you obviously had doubts. Or maybe she does now. I don't know. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that's interesting. And then the next one is the hair dude.
It's annoying that, you know, she's obviously admitting that she had doubt, and that's the whole point of a jury.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Why? Is it, were you pressured? Like,
yeah, exactly.
that's sad. Really sad. And she only got 1.3 for it. Like, it's going to go nowhere.
Yeah.
I think
So
after
if we,
that it was.
what are we up to?
We're at 36.
Okay. So yeah, so basically she's just saying how she doubted things and gone back over it all. So if we want to jump up to 40.11. No, 40.11.
Was in Australia back then and just happens to be one of the world's
Listen to this.
foremost experts on mammal hair. Yes, he wrote the book.
He wrote the book.
And he took a keen interest in this case.
You're not going to believe this.
So you called police in the first few weeks.
So I rang the police.
Oh, this is exactly what Marie Russell did. Exactly.
Work. Told them that I have experiences with dingoes and things like this, and I would like to come actually and have a
With
look.
dingoes, not
He
tingles.
said, oh no, that can't be done.
The police officer said that.
He said, the police said, no, that can't be done. She's done it anyhow, and he hung up the phone.
Lindy, the mother, is still alive today. Father, no. But we'll get into that. I didn't get a
Hans
response.
wasn't the only one who knew something was wrong.
Oh,
Remember
right.
Professor Barry Botcher? He was certain the chemical used.
I did actually try and get hold of her, given that she's in our neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And emailed her PR people to see if she would take a call. But yeah, I've not heard back, unfortunately. Wow.
Used to determine Azaria's blood was found throughout the family car was faulty. The Chamberlains lived in the mining town of Mount Isa. Barry believed something there was causing the chemical to give a false result.
I was given some copper and zinc ore from Mount Isa, and it gave a positive result as rapidly as blood did. So my wife and I went off to Mount Isa, where the Chamberlains lived. And as we walked to our accommodation, there was dust on the front door. And so I immediately tested that, and it gave a positive result. We then tested streets and the dust on the sides of streets. We tested the keys of the accommodation.
So every one of those locations you tested in town, positive.
Everyone.
So that copper oxide dust from the town that they lived in would have been right throughout the car. So almost every location she tested would have come back positive.
Yes. Not only stained areas, but non-stained areas as well.
What is the legal terminology for a mistake like that?
It's a miscarriage of justice.
And what would you call it in layman's terms?
A forensic disaster.
So, if there was no blood in the car, what was the supposed arterial blood spray underneath the glove box? That mystery would be solved by a man called Les Smith.
A friend told me he was photocopying transcript to help save the Chamberlains money, and I said I'd give him a hand. And while I was sitting by the photocopier feeding pages through, I read the transcript. I read about this metal bracket that had human blood from an arterial wound.
Bracket from the family Tirana.
Underneath
the glove box.
Yes. Every weekend I bought all of the local papers and I looked for Holden Tiranas that were for sale. I looked up underneath the dashboard of the car and I went to car wreckers and I saw that the bracket in the cars that I examined corresponded very closely with the bracket in the photograph.
The tiny drops matched the pattern on the bracket from the Chamberlain's car. It wasn't blood, it was paint overspray from when the car was built. The copper oxide dust from Mount Isa had then caused it to test positive for blood.
It turned out that this was the evidence that didn't prove guilt. This was the evidence that proved innocence.
About now, an eccentric expert on mammal hair was finally given access to the Chamberlain's evidence vault. He asked to see only one thing, a small bag labelled cat hairs.
So I looked at them.
Thanks, Teresa.
Dingo hairs and not cat hairs. Absolutely no cat hairs. Oh, it's like pears and apples. Well, that really upset me because I could have looked at those hairs right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And she would have never gone to trial.
With all this new evidence, the Chamberlain Innocence Committee was formed.
Plea for justice.
Appeals were lodged in the courts and a controversial documentary went to air on Channel 10.
Good evening. I'm Kevin Hitchcock. It was accepted amongst the Aboriginal people that it...
They look like Ken from the Barbie.
Barbie movie. Hey, that was the look in the 80s. Come on.
Oh my Lord, it looked plastic.
The dingo had taken the baby.
The system has made a mistake. In our case, we are innocent. And I affirm this, and my wife would affirm it most strongly. And so we must fight on.
We had a reaction that I didn't really expect. 50% of the people believed that exonerated them, that it was right. But 50% of the people thought it was all wrong. And that's probably continued to this day.
That's exactly right.
At this point, from a legal perspective, you'd think it's all over. The cat hair is actually dingo hair. The scissor marks on the jumpsuit are actually canine teeth. The arterial blood spray underneath the glove box is actually paint, and the blood found right throughout the Chamberlain's car. Well, it isn't.
Hey, you could fit a full bottle of Jim Beam or Jack Daniels up under that glove box.
The High Court would dismiss.
Do you remember that ad back in the 80s? It was for Marshall batteries, Oliver Marshall, and it's like, I'm in the glove box.
Oh my God.
Oh, sure. Remember that?
Yeah, it's like singing Louis the Fly.
Yes.
I'm Louis the Fly, Louis the Fly, straight from rubbish bin field.
Look, I was fucking hot back in the 80s.
So was I, man.
I did not know it. I would have so... yeah. I would have definitely exploited that had I known then what I know now.
Chamberlain's appeal.
What takes me all night to do, I used to do all night.
Exactly.
This case is not over yet. Lindy and I are innocent people, and that we will not stop fighting to clear our names and the names of our family.
Lindy Chamberlain, sentenced to life for the murder of a daughter, Azaria, is in Berrima Jail, Darwin.
Ms. Chamberlain has given birth to a daughter. Mother and baby are both well. It was a safe delivery.
Earlier today, the Northern Territory government announced that Mrs. Lindy Chamberlain will not be allowed to keep the baby in jail, as this would not be in the child's best interests.
Baby Carlia had been taken from Lindy at birth, so by now, Michael was doing his best to raise 3 kids. The appeal process exhausted
Even they said it was
the story.
Even they said that.
Yeah, I know. But once you see the stuff later, you'll know
Lines
that
and
didn't.
slowly being forgotten. But there was one more twist to come.
You're
Had
actually
an
not
English
allowed to
hiker by
climb
the
that
name of
rock
David
now.
Brett. Not going to climb Uluru. Would Lindy Chamberlain still be in jail?
She may.
Oh, yes. Sorry.
She may.
Yeah. This guy fell off.
Yep.
Lindy had always been clear about what Azaria was wearing the night she was taken. A jumpsuit, booties, and a button-up jumper, also called
I used to have
a
a
matinee
purple
jacket.
one of those from Alicia.
Scientific
My
examination
kids
of
always
her
wore
clothing
jumpsuits
showed an
and
absence
matinee
of
jackets.
saliva, dingo hairs.
The jumpsuit and booties were recovered near a dingo lair.
The police are also looking for a matinee jacket the baby Azaria was wearing.
The matinee jacket was never found, but the prosecution said the jacket never existed. In court, it was a joke.
There was no evidence of saliva on the jumpsuit, which Mrs. Chamberlain explained by saying it was covered by a matinee jacket.
But the prosecution said the
But
jacket
just
never
stop here
existed.
for a sec.
In court,
Because they said this is why they convicted her, is not only were they too outspoken, giving interviews, etc., they proved, in inverted commas, that she lied by the fact that they couldn't explain the blood in the car.
It was the hitchhiker. But, sorry.
No, it was the tests were wrong. The reagent screwed up and detected copper and zinc oxide as blood, fetal blood
But
in
they
particular.
were also testing the wrong thing. It was paint emulsion that they were testing.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And overspray up under the dash. Exactly right. And everything was testing positive. So that was
because of
like
the
the
high
whole
copper level.
forensic thing was totally against them. And forensics in that era, the early 80s, was just really a big blossoming field. I mean, DNA, I don't think, was even huge back then.
It was only, that's why I think we had so many coronial inquests, because the advances in DNA research and stuff were going on.
Ongoing.
And so they just kept, but
some of the facts that come out in this.
Yeah, no, it wasn't good at all. No.
Mr. Barker said the dingo, which supposedly killed Azaria Chamberlain, must have been not only dexterous, but also very tidy. It was able to achieve the killing of the baby, its burial, its subsequent disinterment, and the removal of its clothes, all without leaving any discernible clue that a dingo was responsible.
Until.
In 1986, English hiker David Brett fell to his death while climbing Uluru. Back then, John Beasy was the head of the local search and rescue. Hey, John, still find the spot even after all these years?
Yeah, mate, I reckon we're pretty well close to it here.
Bring back some memories?
It certainly does, mate, yeah. We were doing a line search. We were walking that way, and we were sort of, you know, 1.5 meters apart, I guess. And we're looking for some terrorists who had climbed the rock and fallen, and all of a sudden came across what I knew was the jacket from his area. I knew straight away, before I even leant down to pick it up, I could see it from standing up like this. It was just plain as day that that was the jacket.
Of all the people in the line search that day, only John had been involved in the original search for Azaria 6 years before. Only John would understand the relevance of a tiny piece of cloth half buried in the desert sand.
I bent over, picked it up, and I said, you know what this is? This is the only thing that was missing from his area.
Overspray and just normal dirt, Elizabeth.
Did you know the significance of that find straight away?
Yes, I did. We sort of knew that it was about to hit the fan.
If not for you finding that jacket, Lindy could still be in jail today.
Yes, absolutely. May well be.
Because her saying a matinee jacket,
serving a life
not
sentence
explaining
in
the blood, they said, well, you're lying about this matinee jacket. It couldn't have existed. And there's no saliva on the jumpsuit.
Because it was covered by the matinee jacket.
Yeah, it had all the saliva on it.
And once they found that proved it.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Territory back in them days, it was life. Life was life.
Northern Territory Police say a baby's white jacket was found about 90 metres from the body of a 31-year-old man.
Almost immediately, Lindy Chamberlain was brought in to identify the jacket, the same jacket police said never existed.
Look how tiny she was.
And amazed, but very grateful.
Grateful what?
Because I think this just goes to show once again that my wife was telling the truth.
Finally, the truth. A terrible miscarriage of justice. Authorities moved at lightning speed.
When it came, the announcement took everyone across the nation completely by surprise. Lindy Chamberlain freed from Darwin's Derrimut jail.
She was ushered into a waiting car, which then sped through the streets of Darwin towards the city's airport.
The Northern Territory government has decided to institute an inquiry into the Chamberlain case. It is not by...
They actually had to change the laws to have that Royal Commission. They had to change the actual laws in the Northern Territory.
Yeah.
Intention that she be taken back into custody regardless of the outcome of the inquiry.
The fight to clear their names would continue for decades.
Would you like to make any comment at all?
Not at the moment, thank you.
It would take another
She learned not to talk to him.
no less than 2 inquests before they would finally hear the words. We're sorry.
Please accept my sincere sympathy on the death of your special and loved daughter and sister, Azaria. I'm so sorry for your loss.
But still, their lives would never be the same.
Yes, we'd have. We have a special jail for dingoes. It's called the Outback.
Straight you about all this.
Awful.
Yeah.
Why?
No,
Reagan.
I don't know. There's something against us. All the friends that I don't like tease me about it.
So what do the kids at school say to you about it all?
They say, look, like, your mum killed your baby, and brag on about that.
How do you think Mum handled jail?
I don't
talk about that.
Sorry. Okay, we'll not talk about that.
The Chamberlains received
he would have been
$1.3
12
million
then.
in compensation, but it didn't matter. Lindy and Michael would separate, then divorce. Lindy would later remarry. Michael would die from leukemia, aged 72.
It wrecked their lives, wrecked their marriage. Marriage had broken up. It affected their children to no end. Affected everything. Had this never happened, they would have been lived on in happy obscurity instead of the wreckage that this case had produced.
Is there still a large element of Australia that still thinks that Lindy Chamberlain is guilty?
Well, it's always been around 50-50, so I think there are still people definitely out there. But hopefully, 40 years after I had an attempt to convince those people, that'd be a nice ending to the story.
It would. But the one person who never had a voice in all this was Azaria.
With baby Azaria.
She should be celebrating her 40th birthday this month. So the last word should be about her.
You never forget. There are little things that, out of the blue, remind you. And you can just see a fleeting glimpse in the side of a face, the movement of an arm, that links what the person that you loved and lost did. And it hits you just there.
What real memories do you have of her?
I've got lots of them, but I think that's one thing I'll keep to me.
Good on you.
Are you absolutely certain that you made no serious mistakes?
No, there were no serious mistakes made at all.
So you're convinced that Lindy Chamberlain was guilty of the charges that you brought up?
Yes.
The Northern Territory authorities, particularly the police, had become so obsessed with their belief of the Chamberlain's guilt that they were unable to accept any material to the contrary.
He said that to accept the Crown case, people would have to accept that a normal, caring mother became a homicidal maniac for 5 minutes.
Do you think Professor Botcher is in a position to criticise you?
Well, I don't believe he is. He's not employed in a forensic laboratory of any type. He has no conception of what dealing with an old bloodstain involves.
Mrs. Cool revealed today that she hadn't used the full range of scientific checks during tests on 28 of the items found in the Chamberlain's car.
What was she employed to do?
Something profound to say to her, but all I could say was, I'm sorry.
Oh,
If there's only one lesson that you have learned over the 7 years of all this, what is it?
Don't trust the police.
I'm going to block you if you say stuff like that again, Pug.
Hello.
Hello, that sounds like Mr. Hitchcock.
Hello, Lindy.
He rang her.
How are you?
I'm good. I haven't called you for a while, so it's time I did again.
Yeah.
See how you're behaving yourself.
Well, I haven't been getting in as much trouble as I used to. And how are the kids going?
Mine are doing all right.
I'm doing an interview on this subject, so I'd better go.
What, right now?
Yes.
Oh, well, I shall get off the line in a hurry in that case. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Who the hell? Pug is Tan's son. Don't be helpful during a stream.
So yeah, that was, as I said, was produced in 2020. So it was quite an interesting.
She'd have to be coming up to 80 then. 80 years old, is she?
Yeah. Michael was 72 in 2017. So yeah, that'd be about right. Yeah.
Wow.
Go away. Oh, here he is. I have a cat first. Where's the cat? Give him my cat. Give him my cat. This is Tarek, everybody. Aww. And this is Pug Gamer. He's obviously watching at the moment. Oh, go on, you. You can go. Oh, that's one of the cats.
Everyone's saying hello to him.
Everybody's saying hello.
As you can see.
Well, we didn't want to block the Australian animals.
Well, yeah, but you don't want to block your friend.
Oh, no, block me, that's fine. You don't need to see that shit. I can do that.
Oh, yeah, see, she can do that.
Oh
Just
wow,
like that.
box you instead.
Mhm.
Okay, go away. Thank you, Teresa. Okay, so what we're going to just have a quick look at now is, I mean, this is just a bit of wiki. I'm just going to
Wikipedia.
share my screen with good old Wikipedia. Okay, is that? Oh, add it to the stage. There we go. So let's just have a little look here. I'll go full screen on that one. Oh, did I? No?
I think you have to zoom on those. Like
Probably. That'll have to do. Oh, I've got to work this stuff out, haven't I?
there should
Okay,
be
so let's just.
like a magnifying glass sometimes.
Yeah, I just don't know where it is on this one at the moment. It's usually down the bottom of mine, but
Yeah.
it's not there. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know where it is. So let's just have a look at this. Let's go right back of this list.
Oh, really?
This is the reported dingo attacks in Australia. Excuse me.
At that time.
No, so back in 1916, there were sheep between Deepwater and the Dundee River. There were sheep and goats in 1924 in the Lake Nash district. 300 sheep in 1933 at Benalla.
That the dingoes have killed.
Yes.
Wow.
10 wallabies in 1936 at the Melbourne Zoo. Many sheep in Braidwood.
Many.
200 sheep in Gundawindi. And yes, that is how you pronounce Gundawindi.
Mm-hmm.
At least 1,000 sheep in 1942.
Wow.
1,000 pound worth of sheep in 1941 to 1948. And a 13-year-old dingo weighed 100 pounds and measured 6 feet from tip to tail.
Wow.
So, yeah.
It's a monster.
It is, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So then we don't have any funny reportings here, though. I believe there is one in between here somewhere. 1980. But yeah, so that's on other animals. Now let's look at this one, is the people. A girl, 12 in 1845 in Australian Capital Territory. 1909, an adult male in New South Wales. A 3-year-old male in 1916.
These are just attacks, not deaths. They're just, is that?
No. Found to have been killed and eaten by dingoes after running away from home.
A 12-year-old
Yes.
girl.
Yes.
But see, back
So
in
you
1980, they didn't have access to this information online.
No, it was
So they
to
wouldn't have
research this back in 1980. Like, oh my gosh.
They would not have.
We would have needed a whole room full of computers with air conditioning and everything.
I think when did the Commodore 64 come out? Like, it only just sort of been invented.
Oh, in 1990, I got my first home computer, and I was ahead of the times. We had dial-up internet. Yeah.
So in 82,
And like a man, you know, in Merriweather in Newcastle, attached by a pack of dingoes, were returning for fishing. He was eventually found by 2 other men searching for him, who the dingoes also attacked.
you would have had to have gone all to every actual
county or whatever.
Yeah, and got to look at hard records to find it.
Yeah, 100%, or it may be microfiche. Yeah, it is absolutely crazy that, this information just wasn't known, that people and children, other animals, well, we knew other animals. We know that, dingoes attack sheep. That's, so do some packs of dogs, etc. So, yeah, and this one here that he shot a dingo. But when he walked over it sprang to his feet and flew at him.
Oh. Now,
he used it as lobster bait.
after
Yeah.
Azaria.
Yes, they did. Yes, and also after another attack on Fraser Island as well. Yeah, and people have had them for pets as well. So there was this one here in 1979 in Darwin, in the
There are
Northern
actually
Territory.
a lot of dogs that are inbred
Crossbreeds.
here.
Yes, yes. So, and then in 1980, obviously, was the Chamberlain case.
Oh, it's on
So
there.
there was, yes, it is on the people one, yes. So you'll see there has been since then, obviously, a few more.
Wow.
And Kagari is what they now call Fraser Island. See here, Kagari.
That's beautiful, Fraser Island. Absolutely stunning.
Yes, it is, but it's now Kagari. Like Ayers Rock is now Uluru. Yeah, and I mean, I was on Kagari in approximately 1994, I would have said. And I can tell you right now, it changed my mind about how dingoes are. They surrounded me, and
2004,
yeah.
I think I was there. Yeah,
Oh,
and
right,
I had a
okay.
3-year-old and a 5-year-old playing in the sand, and I had 2 dingoes casing us.
So yeah, you can see by this there was definitely, and since then there has been people that have certainly had issues, and like at Orchid Beach, not just campgrounds. A French tourist was bitten on the arse, on the buttocks by a dingo, with video of the boy. Yeah, with video.
got
Actually, we should look
my
that up. Look, Jodie, look that up on YouTube. French
What
tourist
is it?
bitten by dingo.
Pardon? French tourist.
I believe it's on social media. French tourist bitten by dingo on Fraser Island, 2023. Yeah, and this boy 10 here, I think, would have only survived if 12-year-old sister didn't come up and give him a hand. So yeah, there has been. Yes.
There we go. Oh,
You mentioned coyotes. Yeah, it used to be wolves were bad in the US, I believe, and now the coyotes are. Is that how you say it, coyotes, or is it coyotes?
coyotes. Coyotes.
Has been used,
Yeah.
and another is being closely watched after a string of recent attacks on Gari, formerly known as Fraser Island. One incident involved a 10-year-old boy being dragged underwater, prompting officials to increase warnings.
Oh, that was that one. Different one,
Wild
yeah.
animals are known to stalk their prey and unwitting tourists.
You don't know where they are, and they could be watching the whole time, just waiting.
There's video now surfacing showing one dingo going in for a chomp on a French tourist.
It's unfortunate that dingo was allowed to get that close to her while it was being filmed.
The incident in late April, one of at least 6 high-risk interactions
did both
involving this dingo. Another attack was on a 7-year-old girl. The department since euthanized the animal over safety concerns.
They will just see children and small prey.
Rangers say tourists are continuing to feed the dingoes, encouraging further interactions. And just last week, this dingo is believed to have pulled a 10-year-old boy into the waves as he was walking along the water's edge.
The parents were able to come down and get that dingo off that boy, and luckily he didn't suffer any significant injuries.
The dingo is now being closely monitored.
It's very important that people coming over to Gari this school holidays be very vigilant with their children. And when we say that, we mean supervising children within arm's reach.
Officials will be ramping up patrols, signage and text message alerts to make sure all visitors remember.
They are tagging them on Fraser Island, on Kagari now too. So a bear in your driveway. Oh my gosh. So yeah, there has been hundreds and hundreds of cases. Yeah, that was the right one. It had both of them in it. That's it there. Yeah, that one was.
Great picture. Use that as a thumbnail.
So yeah, there have been hundreds.
Because
the other thing I actually found, interesting was this other link. It was quite interesting that the university put out. Why dingoes attack people. Oh, sorry. I don't know what I think I accidentally removed you.
We both done it.
There we go. I'm up now. So why do animals attack? Interesting, isn't it? Research on wolf attacks show, without rabies obviously, that there are two factors: human modified environments and animals that are habitated to human presence. And I mean your wolves, your coyotes, however you say it, and your bears over there. I mean our bears are stoned all the time. We don't have to worry about our little koalas. They're always stoned. So we don't have to worry. He just eats eucalypt and leaves.
You know how I did that search for the French tourist bitten by a dingo?
Yeah.
Can I just show you something?
Yeah.
This is really cool. All right, so that's the search I put in up there, and I'm just scrolling down. Oh, look at that! There you go.
Cool.
Who did that? I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah.
And to watch this. Save to watch later. All right, sorry.
Okay.
I just thought that was cool.
Yes, it was.
Go back. Oh, sorry.
Stop it! I did that. Okay. Another thing, yeah, around human settlements, obviously, there's food, and you guys have had that in the US and Canada with bears, etc. Interesting facts, though, is that like a coyote and a dingo typically weigh between 10 and 16 kilos, which is what, 22 to 28 pounds, but they can be a lot bigger. So the other thing is dingoes, coyotes, wolves have a chase response, which is what a lot of, like your normal dogs, your domesticated dogs don't. Well, my bull terrier used to, but he was separate. Is to, they don't run, just be calm and walk, etc. But that's easier said than done at times too, especially when you've got quite a few around you. So up there in Fraser Island, etc. now, and mine sites, there are strict rules about putting waste food in the bin, etc. They've trained the workers not to feed the dingoes, but with the large amount of tourists on Uluru and Kagari,
they tell you how to store your food and everything too now. You have to have it all sealed properly, and so that
correct.
They just come and raid your tents or your campsite at night when you're looking. They're not scared.
No, not at all. Not at all. I know the camp next to us got totally destroyed by the dingoes because they didn't put all this. They got too drunk. Yeah. So it was quite funny. Oh gosh. So let's just have a look. Where's Lindy nowadays?
Oh.
40. This was done in 2020 around the same time. Because I mean we had Aiden who was 6 and
so she's that was done 2020. So she's 84. If she's 40 then. Yeah.
That's 40 years since Australia first learned Lindy Chamberlain's name. It was 40 years since Azaria was taken.
That's 82.
It was 80 she was taken.
Sorry, yeah.
So this was done in 2020. Yeah. So interesting article, and this Lindy hasn't been doing nothing. There is other documentaries, etc. So Lindy Chamberlain, The True Story, which our Channel 10 actually did. So that was, it was very harrowing, and she was a lot involved with that,
She does
obviously,
a lot of
because
public
that was
speaking now, apparently.
100% she does, yeah. So, and awareness stuff. Yeah. So now
Is that
let's just
right?
have a look
Wow.
what the kids were up to. Aiden was 6 years old when his little sister disappeared. The dingo's got our baby in its tummy, is what he said. So he's now 47 back in 2020, so he'd be now 51.
Fuck, it's only a
And
couple
for
of years younger than
years,
me.
yeah, for years, Lindy didn't know that he blamed himself for not zipping up the tent.
Oh.
Because when he came, they went and got some more baked beans. But he didn't realise the zip was broken anyway. So that's a picture of him in 1993 with his mum. So
Is
he's
there a
now
photo of him
married.
now?
No, I couldn't find one. You'll be very interested about that. A lot of their photos are not there. Yeah. So, and I mean, the Chamberlains did keep them really out of the press.
Yeah.
They did. They certainly did. So he's now married, who he wed in 2006, and his wife arrived at the ceremony in the yellow Tirana.
Oh. Oh.
So that's he was, yeah. Reagan, who was 4 when the dingo entered the tent and was sleeping. And at the time, Aiden were cooking dinner on the barbecue, blah, blah, blah. And they didn't think he knew anything really about what went on because he was asleep. But the first time they knew he was awake, right, and remembered anything was when they got a dog.
Oh.
He was lying on the floor and the puppy ran over his back and he sort of sat up and went, ah. And I said, what's the matter? And he said, that was just like when the dingo walked on me.
Oh.
And she said, you remember that? The dingo walked on you? And he said, yes. He said, but she said, I thought you were asleep. And he said, nah, when you first came in, I thought it had come back to get me. So I played dead until you kicked me and spoke, and then I realised you were there and it was all right. So the dingo had walked over him with the blood, and he thought it was coming back for him.
I found an image.
Oh, have you? A current one?
Yep.
Oh, cool.
Looks like possibly. That's Aiden.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and there was a lot of fights at school, obviously.
Yeah, Aiden.
Aiden, yeah, that's Aiden. Yeah.
Oh, that's Regan.
Oh, it is too.
Huh.
Cool.
Is there Kalia? Where's Kalia? There you go.
There she is. That's her.
Far out. She doesn't look like either of them.
That's 2020.
Yeah, but she doesn't look like Lindy or Michael.
Oh, she's got Lindy's eyes, don't you think? Anyway, so Lindy was 8 months pregnant with Kalia when she was sentenced to life in prison. She was later born in Darwin Hospital while her mother was in custody in Berrimah Jail. As I said, they knew the minute she was... Oh, Lindy, actually, if you want to go look up another one, Ando, she did an Ando. You know how he paints you? The documentary on the SBS. Have you ever seen that, Ando? Oh, it's awesome. You'll have to watch the documentaries. So what this Ando does is, an Aussie, and he paints famous people and talks to them, asks questions of them while he's painting them. And, yeah, so while he was painting Lindy, it was quite interesting that, she told them, I knew the minute she was born, that they were going to take her off me. So every moment of the birth, I fought it. It was like, you keep her inside and she's yours. The minute she's out, she's not. So what Kalia says being raised in foster families was a really, really positive experience for her, which was fantastic. there were still moments when she'd get upset as a child.
Yeah, because she went straight into what do you call it?
Foster care.
Yeah.
Yeah, she did. From, like, I think Michael saw her for a bit, but then she went straight into foster care. She looks more like Lindy there.
That looks like my sister.
That was in 2004.
That seriously looks like my sister.
Really? So in 2007, Carly got married. One of the things that Carly evidently worried about was that she was just a replacement for Rosaria.
Oh.
But her mother reassured her that she had always wanted 4 children. So, but then in 2007, this is amazing, when Carly got married, right? She had 4 fathers walk her down the aisle. Michael first walked a part way, yeah, followed by her 2 previous foster dads, Wayne Miller and Owen Hughes, and at 3/4 the way down the aisle, Lindy's second husband, Rick Crichton, who is Lindy's current husband, walked to the rest of the way down the aisle. And what the kids are doing now, just I did look that up, but I don't know whether I've actually got any screenshots of that. No. Yeah, so Regan is the eldest. Yes, he's got his own electrical business. He lives in Western Australia. Evidently, his brother Aidan lives not far away, just around the corner. And he's also an electrician and does work for his brother at times, as well as does his own contracting. And then we have Carlia, who is actually a first responder, I believe, on Christmas Island or somewhere.
Tassie.
Yes. No, Christmas Island. Up north. Isn't it?
Yeah, sorry. I'm getting it confused with where all the cheese comes from. King Island.
Oh, yeah, King Island Dairy, yes. Yeah, so in 2012 was when it all finished for her. 32 years later. It's just amazing that, it took that long in Australia for that to happen.
The first coronial inquest got it right, and the last Royal Commission got it right, and the 2 in the middle didn't.
Yeah, exactly.
That's why that where is it? I had a picture.
So this is the series that I think Channel 10 have taken down. It was called, in some places it was called Who Killed Baby Azaria, and then in another place it was called The Disappearance. I'd like to go to Gilligan's Island. No, I honestly don't think I would. I watched that show.
Yeah, so did I. Just around Marianne. Here on Gilligan's Island.
So so there has been quite a few things done, and Lindy's been very active, as we said. And she still is active today. And you'll see she's also been made manager of quite a number of websites. So the Australian National Museum of Australia, the papers, the Chamberlain Crichton papers, which is held by the National Library of Australia. She's also in charge of them. She's got an official website, obviously, that we can go and see what did happen.
Yeah, that's actually really good. I got a lot of my information off there.
Yeah, so you see that there is just so much about this case in Australia, and like the good thing, like I like this part was the rumours and the facts.
Yeah,
like meant
she dressed her in
sacrifice
black
in the
all
wilderness.
the time. Yeah.
Yeah, that was rubbish. She had one black dress. Yeah. So like, yeah, her clothes was found folded, and it wasn't. It wasn't. It was scattered. So like, Lindy had done a thesis on dingoes. We should all do a thesis on dingoes. they underlined a story in the Bible in which a woman kills a man by driving a tent peg through his head. I have no idea what relation that has to do with anything. And it was a semi-domestic dingo and was part of the ranger, a pet of the ranger at the Rock. There was a couple of dingoes that have actually been, let's say, hung around with the rangers, not owned by the rangers because they're not illegal to own a dingo in Australia. There has been a couple that have been put down on Fraser Island particularly that hung around with the rangers, etc., because they were too snappy at people, like that French tourist, obviously. They were just a bit too aggressive, and it is mainly the male ones, yes. And someone had killed the dingo, which had taken Azaria, later putting her clothing near the lair. So that's not right. So they're just some of the facts, and there's just so much information out there, and some of it is hard to work out what is fact and what is fiction. It really is. Now this one here, that let's see if I can get the volume working on this. I don't know. We'll give it a try. It's not muted, is it? Let's have a look up here. Oops, wrong one. It is not muted. I know why that might be. Actually. Tell me if this now works. You can hear that? No. Still. Can I just try one thing? Sorry.
Have a look on your analytics page up on the top if that's got a mute.
No. No.
Yeah, it is. See, there's the pause button.
What do you want me to do?
Unmute it, maybe, see if that works.
I'm here to help.
Well, what about I just close that?
Yeah. No, still no sound.
It's not working.
Still no sound. Why not?
No.
I don't understand.
It's got to have something to do with your computer settings, I think, where you're setting your output to, maybe. You're sending it to your... Oh, are you Wi-Fi?
Oh, yeah, I haven't got the Euro set up yet. I've got a Euro 6 mesh network to set up, which I haven't done yet. The only other thing I can think of is...
Your output is getting Bluetooth to your headphones, so it won't allow two different outputs, I don't think.
Okay. Let's try it now. There.
No.
No.
Well, why can't we hear it?
I don't know.
You can't hear any of that?
That's to do with your microphone, not your headset.
Yeah, that's what I just changed it on the microphone. Okay. I will have to sort out what the hell is going on with this. I have no idea.
What's it called?
Wild Dingo steals baby while parents sleep.
Actually, I think I've got that in my history anyway, because I looked it up the other day.
What are you doing?
Checking website permissions and whatnot.
Audio.
That's not streaming audio.
Wild Dingo. What? Steals baby.
Wild Dingo steals baby while parents sleep. Yeah, it's all right.
There it is.
That's it.
You hear it?
She'd be about to celebrate her 39th birthday.
You hear that?
Tragically, though, no one thinks of Azaria.
Yeah.
tonight. Instead, she's marked in our psyche as a 2-month-old baby who was killed
Yeah, I
by
can hear it.
Ayres Rock. Uluru.
Yeah, that's her streaming it, not me.
But it's the manner of her death that still grips us with horror. The cunning dingo entered the tent where tiny Azaria was sleeping and brazenly snatched her. What happened was so improbable, many, including the Northern Territory Police, thought it was impossible. Well, tonight, the terrifying story of a near-identical attack that once and for all proves the dingo did it.
So this is the one I tried to show last night, and it wouldn't work either, and we didn't realise it wasn't just that.
Yeah.
In Brisbane this week, 14-month-old
Yeah.
Hunter Alistair now seems totally unaffected by the horrendous ordeal from which the rest of his family might never recover.
To tell me exactly what's happened. The dingo has dragged him from the camper van. How old is the little one? I'm coming.
Oh.
There's dingoes everywhere.
Yeah.
I was driving and Luke was sitting in the back holding Hunter. It's probably only 10 minutes, but it felt like an hour. And I remember his cries just, starting to fade. And I honestly thought when we got there, he wouldn't be there.
Oh.
How this drama unfolded is extraordinary.
The dog obviously had some familiarity with the campsite, didn't it?
As you'll see, the length this dingo went to snatch a baby is beyond belief.
The height that it had to climb.
We thought we were safe.
We thought we were safe.
My big fluffy cat.
Fraser Island, 350 kilometres north of Brisbane, is the world's largest sand island.
It's beautiful.
Oh,
Absolutely.
it's awesome.
Blinding light and endless beaches
Lake Mackenzie
washed by
is
the
just,
blue
oh.
Pacific.
On this island, the actual the sand where you can see that car driving is a highway. It's actually a highway.
Luke and Sarah Alistair and their family are among the 400,000 people who come here every year to enjoy what's
Eli Creek.
usually considered
Eli,
an
yeah.
unforgettable holiday.
Favorite
what we
place
do.
in the
It's
world.
extraordinary place.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful place.
Yeah, we've been looking forward to it for a long time, and yeah, we were just excited. The kids were excited.
Fraser Island is famous for
Let him
its
out.
dark, mysterious forests, its freshwater lakes, its
Yeah, it's
popular
like Mackenzie.
The
off-road
freshwater
campsites.
lakes. It's amazing.
It's also famous for its wild dingoes.
Hello.
Her ears keep turning back. She's watching. She's listening.
Wild
I'm sorry.
dingoes are furtive and secretive.
Hi, Anna.
The island, hardly expecting to encounter one. But with Ranger Linda Berendorf, we were on
Yeah,
the trail
Fraser's
of a
gorgeous.
dog.
That's
Absolutely.
the female. That's the alpha female for this area. We've seen that female grow up. I guess she would have been tagged in her
Hey,
first.
oh, did you see that? Let me start. Hang on. Wait for
But
it.
with Ranger Linda Berendorf, we were on the trail of a wild dog.
This is the
See that? Right there?
Yeah.
You know how I was telling you last night about cards? You insert at the end and you get that little message on the screen? That's what that is. Oh, look at that. Boop,
Is that like your cat does?
female. That's the alpha female for this area. We've seen that female grow up. Yes, she would have been tagged in her first year, and she should have, if everything goes well, she should have a litter this year as well. And that's where our role to try and mitigate risk of them becoming too habituated to humans comes in.
Clearly, this dingo was standoffish, but it wasn't afraid. And that can be the problem.
Yeah.
Dingoes hang around campsites looking for a free meal, losing their
Or a
ancient
chair.
fear of human beings. That's when they become dangerous.
A French tourist sporting the battle scars of a terrifying encounter.
And
Why is it
when
always French
Fraser
tourists?
Island makes the news.
A 6-year-old
Because they
boy
smell like
mauled on
wee-wee.
the same coastline in January.
The dingo attack on 14-month-old Hunter Alistair was the third so far this year.
Yeah.
Luke and Sarah had taken their little boy and his sister Harper for what was supposed to be a week-long Easter holiday. Sarah's mum
That
Sian
beach is a
had also
highway.
joined them, and together they set up their caravan at the One Tree
Gorgeous.
campsite on the island's popular eastern beach.
It was nice and flat and
Yeah,
had a bit of a journey.
the eastern side of the island is sand, and the western side is like a cliff, and that's where the whale watching happens on the other side.
Yes. Yeah, definitely.
To shelter you from the wind, so we're pretty happy.
So
So
you thought this out fairly carefully, and you wouldn't have seen any dogs around that campsite.
no. When we went to bed about probably 10:30. Secured all our rubbish and moved it away, packed all of our
Space looks
food
familiar.
away and strapped it down. And we're
It does, doesn't
experienced
it?
campers, and
Yeah.
we certainly know what precautions that we needed to take.
So about what time do things start to go wrong?
At about a bit after 12, I would have woken up to a cry, and then I don't know exactly how long, but seconds. And his cry went from being inside the camper to outside. I don't know what went through my head. I just sat up and said, "Luke, he's outside." And Luke got up, unzipped, and ran out the door of the camper around the other side. And he saw that a dingo was had him by the back of the neck and was dragging him off into the bush.
He was crying big tears, and you could definitely hear it. It was outside, and it was going that way. And
But Luke just ran.
I just ran. I didn't think. Drop it! When I got there, the dingoes got him by the back of the head and pulling him into the bush.
Could you believe this?
No.
Oh, fuck no.
No.
It's a terrible story. Primal, raw, awful to tell, and not easy to listen to. But having survived the
that Peter
worst of
Hitchener?
human experiences, being predated by wild
Hey?
creatures, it's a
that Peter
story
Hitchener?
Sarah and Luke feel
Is it
compelled
what?
to share.
I just ran and yelled.
Is that Peter Hitchener?
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
I
he
think
must
it
be
is.
old now. Shit.
Yeah, had to be 100.
Yeah.
So this again was in 2019. So this is 5 years ago.
Oh.
I was running up to kick the dingo, but I didn't have to. As soon as I got from me to you away, the dingo let go of him, and he cowered.
The dingo would have been looking away from you, I take it.
No, he was looking at me while dragging him.
So he's dragging
Oh,
Hunter.
walking
going
backwards.
Backwards, yes.
Right. He sees you.
He sees me. He's looked back down. He's done a quick more of a dash back.
What did you say to him?
I swore. And I yelled very loudly.
Get off it! Drop it! Get away!
And he did.
He did. I picked him up, but then realised it was a lot of blood.
Was Hunter still yelling and crying?
Yes, he was screaming, absolutely screaming. And to be honest with you, that's looking back on it. And at the time, I was happy that he was crying
Yeah.
because I was so scared and I did not want him to stop crying because if he stopped crying.
Yeah.
Sarah, while this confrontation going on, what are you doing?
I was right behind him, and he brought him back in under the light, and that's when we saw that there was a lot of blood. I just started shaking uncontrollably.
And you woke up your mother?
I woke up my mum, grabbed my phone to try and
And they're in the middle of
emergency
nowhere.
services, and I grabbed a cloth.
No telephone service on Fraser still to this day.
The ordeal was far from over. While Luke had saved his son from being dragged off to his death, they were now in an even more precarious situation.
Yeah, it gets worse.
Sarah and her mother went off trying to get reception.
Smell of
That's
blood.
when a pack of them circled me, and they were, the way I felt, they were trying to do a sneak attack and try to pull Hunter out from the behind me.
They get in a pack like coyotes, I guess.
It's very
And
tough. These are pack hunters, and they're known to favour the attack on a lone person. How many dogs do you think were?
I think I saw 4, but it's pitch black.
It was sort of shadows and glimpses of their eyes that you
and
would see.
you'd only see them if they're 2 meters from you, so there could have been more behind them, and there was the feeling of them coming up behind you, and as I lunged to them and yelled at them, they'll back off, and there'll be another one trying to come up behind me, and yeah, it was scary and hard to look back at it.
You stayed remarkably calm.
Yeah, instinct kicked in, adrenaline.
He was
I
incredibly
suppose.
calm. I was not as calm.
Is that a strength that you don't know you have until you're tested?
If I didn't, or if we all didn't do our part, we wouldn't have a boy still here, and it was just we had to do it. To be honest, if we stuck around, they would have taken us 100%. They were getting more cocky, more like
They're getting closer
and closer, and they would have taken me 100%. They would have taken
definitely, Elizabeth. I mean, they surrounded me in the daytime.
We're up front.
We're up the front of the tent.
Babies round the back. How a cunning dingo snatched the baby. So Dingo came from round the back here.
As far as we know, yes.
It's so high.
It's so high.
And the desperate call
Ambulance, what's the town or suburb of the emergency?
to save a life.
The dingo has dragged him from the camper van. Okay, we'll need an ambulance. We'll need a helicopter. The baby's dying.
It's next on 60 Minutes. Come here, Uncle Charlie.
Oh, no, that's
Sarah
Charles
and Luke
Bully.
Allister have always loved the wilderness, but they live in a sedate and leafy part of suburban Brisbane, with their 4-year-old daughter Harper and her baby brother, 14-month-old Hunter, who miraculously survived a dingo attack.
There's no apparent injury now. Back of the head's looking really good.
Very well.
growing back.
Yeah, a couple of scars.
A little bit in the back, but all the main ones were in the hairline, so we're very lucky.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't go bald, we'll be quite right.
Yeah, I am absolutely blind as a bat in the dark too, Elizabeth.
Not so emotionally, for Luke and Sarah have decided to return to Fraser Island to revisit the very spot where the ordeal occurred. It's a harrowing experience, but one they hope will lay to rest the awful memories.
We're sleeping here.
You're up the front.
We're up the front of the tent.
And the babies around the back end.
Yes, correct. The 2 kids are at the back in there.
It was the first night of a family holiday. Luke and Sarah thought their baby boy was safe and secure, tucked in bed a metre off the ground in their camper trailer. So Dingo came from round the back here.
Yes, correct.
It's so
Lindy was fighting
so high.
the odds
Like, how-
just in a tent.
How can a dingo do this?
It's not until you realise just how the dingo managed to snatch a couple's son that you get a sense of how cunning and dangerous the wild dogs can be. What evidence did you see of entry?
So when Luke came back, these buttons were pushed off,
Just to there. I think that one was still connected at the end.
and this zip had
Really?
been pushed back.
So the point is that these are dingoes that are so habituated to people that they actually know how to unzip things.
Well,
Seems that way.
Seems that way. It could easily just get its nose through and move.
So Hunter was asleep. I put him to bed about here, and his little sister was asleep on the other side.
So he must have experienced quite a fall.
Yeah.
Missed the metal and fell into fairly soft ground.
Very luckily.
The Allisters remember every dramatic detail of these gruesome events on the night of Good Friday.
Drop it!
And then where do you think the dingo took him?
Scared of the dingoes and spiders like me, Elizabeth.
It's about here.
No, I was exactly here.
So you're confronting the dog here.
Yeah, probably got from 2 meters from him, and he dropped him.
And meanwhile, what are you doing?
I ran over and Luke brought him back under the light, and I called for my mum, and we just jumped straight on the phone. And
Sarah's mum, Sian, who was camping with the Allister family that night, was soon on the phone trying to raise help.
Ambulance, what's the town or suburb of the emergency?
This week on Fraser Island, In the dying light, for the grandmother, everything floods back as we listen to the replay of what is certainly the worst phone call I've ever heard.
The dingo has dragged him from the camper van. Okay. We'll need an ambulance. We'll need a helicopter. The baby's dying.
When you tell the operator the baby's dying, do you actually think that is what's
Absolutely, I
happening?
thought he was. As soon as I saw it, there was blood dripping off my hand, and his head was just, and it was just pouring everywhere. So I honestly thought, I didn't want, but I honestly thought by the state of the child that, yeah.
He's all really wet through with blood.
Have you got something to control the bleeding?
My son-in-law's got a towel pressed against the back of his head.
Now, at this stage, I mean, a life is hanging in the balance.
Yep.
I can only imagine how you felt.
No, it's terrifying.
So these terrible silences when the phone drops out.
Yeah.
You're very calm. You're not swearing.
Surprisingly, yeah. Yeah.
They're coming, darling. They're coming. All right. He's not going to die. He's all right. It's all right, darling. It's all right,
As Sian struggled with dreadful phone reception,
How old is the little one? I'm coming. There's dingoes everywhere.
both Hunter's and his father's lives were now in real jeopardy.
It was pitch black, but they all circle. I have no idea how they even circled me. I was looking down and I look around me and there's dogs all around me.
And they had the sense of the kill in their nostrils.
Yeah,
They smelled the
definitely.
blood.
Definitely. I could tell that they were trying to approach me from the behind, and it felt like they were trying to rip Hunter out of my arms. Adrenaline was kicking in. Yeah, I don't know if I was more afraid, but crying.
Having finally connected with emergency services, Sian now hurried the family into their four-wheel drive. Together, they raced to the helipad at the Fraser Island police station.
I knew when I first looked at him, we needed choppers, definitely. If he
Where's
had to
the
have any
police station? Is that over near Kingfisher Resort
At
or?
this stage, no one knew whether the baby would survive.
Well, I was driving and
You're
we were
mute.
sitting in the back
That's
holding
it.
Hunter, and that's probably the strongest memory I have from that night was that drive. It's probably only 10 minutes, but it felt like an hour.
I think it's on the eastern side, just near Indian's Head.
Oh, right, okay, right up the
Yeah.
top.
Longest 10 minutes ever.
Yeah. And I remember his cries just, starting to fade, and
Well,
I honestly thought when we got there, he wouldn't be there.
the family was met by a rescue helicopter. Hunter and Mum Sarah were flown to hospital. This week, merely the sound of an approaching chopper at the Fraser Island helipad evokes troubling memories. The couple have returned because they want to show their gratitude to Brent Malden, one of the airmen who helped save their baby's life.
Hello again.
This time?
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah.
Sarah,
Alright.
how are you? How you guys?
Yeah, all right.
Yeah. Emotional doing this.
I can imagine. How's Hunter?
He's amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Thank you for
Yeah.
everything.
It was
Yeah.
pretty easy to relate when you're there
Yeah.
as well, and kids are the same age. So
Yeah.
this is great.
Yeah.
In your business, you see people who are undergoing trauma or will undergo trauma as a result of what's happened. Just meeting them now, how do you think they're bearing up?
I think they've done very well. I think they've put stuff into perspective through their journey with this event that happened to poor Hunter, and they've come out of it quite well.
Hunter spent 5 days in hospital in Brisbane, where he was diagnosed with a fractured skull.
He's had a bite here, and you can see where the tissue's been disrupted. The black is gas.
Surgeon Professor Roy Kimball sees more than 30 serious domestic dog bite cases every year. Although dingo attacks are relatively rare, they're every bit as dangerous. So by any measure, this
If not more so.
This is very serious because you've introduced a lot of organisms into the tissues, into the bone, and you're a hair breadth away from brain here.
Now, the skull of a young child is more pliable, isn't it?
Yes.
Does that mean it breaks more easily?
It certainly would be easier to break with a dog bite, but without medical attention, this could be fatal.
Coming up, are the Fraser Island dingoes too smart for their own good?
Problem is, that dog has become a danger. Do you hold it against the dingo? Should the dingo be punished?
And the family count their blessings. It's deep, isn't it?
It is, because we honestly thought we were going to lose him.
Plus, later in the program, the man who went to the dark side of the moon.
You had ultimately the biggest responsibility.
Did he find Dingo? That's an ad. That's probably enough of that now.
On 60 Minutes.
You want me to stop it?
Yeah, I mean, they just kept, like 60 Minutes, kept just rehashing the same story in 3 different ways. But you can see, like, how, I mean, if that dingo had punched any harder on that child's head, that child would have been dead. Yeah. And obviously with the Aboriginal people in Australia too, like, some of their older stories that I've heard from Aboriginals that I know, I have maybe a titch of Aboriginal blood in me. And, yeah, some of the stories do go on about dingoes, be aware of dingoes and scorpions and snakes and spiders, with your children, because that's how their children died.
What was that?
That is cool.
I was just looking
So
at
I'm
some of
sure.
this, like backpacker kidnapped and shackled in abandoned pig shed.
That sounds interesting. Put that one on the watch
To
later
his
list.
family and friends, Gene Bristow was an unassuming, hard-working hobby farmer. But his life was a facade. In truth, Bristow was a monster, consumed with thoughts of depravity. The 54-year-old devised an evil plan to lure a young female to his remote South Australian property and keep her as his hostage. His scheme was as meticulous as it was wicked, except for one thing. He picked the wrong target. The ingenuity and will to live of the now 26-year-old Belgian backpacker Daveen Arkens meant when bad collided with good, there would only be one winner.
How did this come from Wild Dingo Steals Baby while parents sleep?
I just got a notification. We're having a haircut tomorrow.
No, Lucy couldn't fit you in.
Oh,
Just
good.
remember, I was
Because
going to try and piggyback you off.
Yeah, I got appointments, so that's cool.
Yeah,
just-
yeah, no. I know you asked me, but yeah. So I'll make my appointment for next time and I'll include you.
Remote South Australia.
Please help look for me.
From an isolated pig shed, a chilling cry for help.
I've been kidnapped in South Australia. Scared to run away.
Distressed messages from a terrified backpacker.
He would chase me down and shoot me.
That would travel around the world to her friends and her distraught family in Belgium.
The message was, I'm kidnapped.
Please, I'm on the farm somewhere. He drives a red pickup.
A red pickup. I'm scared. Has a gun. Will shoot me.
Please, contact the police and Mom.
I'm so far away from her and I couldn't. I didn't really know where she is.
Oh my God.
Shackled and alone, Daveen Arkens risked it all to break out of her chains, to grab her one fleeting chance to tell whoever was listening she was in the worst kind of trouble.
My first thought was just to send a message for help. I didn't really know where I was, where I should go to, who to trust.
Who did you send these messages to?
Everyone who was online.
A cow farm, across 2 ferries.
Tonight, inside the police investigation that captured a monster. How would you describe Daveen's actions throughout this?
Courageous. Very courageous.
And this is the kidnapper, Gene Charles Bristow. now a prisoner himself. He is despised, especially by his 22-year-old son, David Bristow, who helped bring him to justice.
If you had an opportunity to say something to him, what would it be?
Right now. You get what you deserve.
Please, please. I am so afraid.
Oh my gosh.
Hula is a typical Belgian town. Clean, charming, and a little sleepy. Not a place to satisfy the adventurous spirit of Davine Arkins, a small-town girl who set out to see the big wide world.
So, Davine, why was Australia on the map? Why did you want to come here?
I really wanted to see the wildlife, the nature, and it just seemed like an amazing country to visit, to go backpacking.
By her early 20s, Davine was already a seasoned traveller who ticked off South Africa, Guatemala and China. But Australia was to be the big one. And so when she arrived here at the end of 2016, the 24-year-old had a year's working visa in her pocket and the promise of a trip of a lifetime.
Do you remember the emotion you were feeling when you booked your ticket to come to Australia?
Yeah, I was feeling quite nervous, but also very excited to finally go.
Did you consider Australia to be a safe place to visit?
Yes, yes. I know there were some dangerous animals, jellyfish or crocodiles, but I felt like it was a safe place to go to.
The first 2 months were crammed with new experiences and landscapes a world away from Belgium.
Exploring this pink lake.
That's Stratty.
Davine headed south, taking in Melbourne and Tasmania.
Amazing.
By now, she had set her mind on getting work in the bush, a visa requirement to allow her to stretch her trip for an extra year. And so she headed to Adelaide.
I wanted to do my amount of days that you needed to get a second-year visa. So I felt like in Adelaide there was a good opportunity to find some work.
Davine's next step, while not uncommon, would be fateful. She turned to the internet to help in her job hunt.
I wanted really to find something, so I just posted my own ad looking for work, and then finally had a response to it.
Would you be interested in rearing baby calves on a farm 2.5 hours from Adelaide?
Just as she was getting desperate, it was the offer she'd been hoping for, supposedly from a network of farms that employed foreign backpackers.
My name is Max, and we will be working on one of many farms in South Australia, owned by a company called Genesis Inc.
I did ask questions to get more information.
Did you get an impression from him that there had been a lot of female workers on the farm?
He spoke about another French girl who was recently going to another farm. So that made me feel a bit more reassured, like, okay, there's other people doing this job just like me.
What was your reaction when you heard she was going to this remote farm?
First reaction is congratulations, girls, because that's what you are always looking for.
Since meeting in China 3 years ago, Echo Wang and Davine Arkins have remained close friends. Echo was on her own backpacking adventure, fruit picking in far north Queensland, when she heard that Davine had finally found some work.
And I said, hey, you will be fine because thousands of backpackers, they are doing the same job and you will be fine. I'm really happy for her.
And that's what you told her, you'll be fine.
Yes. Not at all, yes.
But the man who called himself Max was in fact 54-year-old hobby farmer Jean Charles Bristow. He was also
Wasn't
a
Ivan Milat
fantasist and a liar with
from
a
around there
secret
too?
plan to kidnap, and sexually abuse a backpacker. And Devine Arkins was about to fall into his trap.
This was the only thing I was gonna do alone, finding a job, and then it goes wrong.
How does that make you feel?
It's like you cannot even do one thing alone or you're unsafe, so no. It doesn't.
Ivan Milat. What did I do? Ivan Milat was at Belangolo State Forest. I don't know what.
Where's that?
I think it's New
Okay.
South. I don't know what
It
the
is
hell
South Australia, isn't it, though?
This is South. No.
Where's the Belangolo?
I think it's New South, isn't it?
New South.
I think so.
I think it's up there near that corner, though, isn't it, kind of thing? The New South, Victoria, South Australia, Queensland type thing. I don't know. 2.5 hours from Adelaide, could be anywhere.
I've completely it completely kicked
You
me
stopped
off.
you stopped sharing your screen.
Kicked me off YouTube altogether. The whole.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. That's bizarre.
That is. Okay, well, I'll just share this one then.
Hang on. Oh, do you want me to?
Yes.
I've got it again.
Oh, okay, cool.
That upsets you about that?
I think it is because I always make sure that I had someone with me. I always make sure that I wasn't alone.
Snowed in, here's Teresia. I'd hate that feeling.
Unlucky to meet a person like that, and yeah.
Coming up, walking into a trap.
To now know that was all a fabrication.
Yeah.
There were no other female workers. Did you have any sense? Can you look back and go, oh, he was lying to me?
And held hostage in a filthy pig shed.
You must have been absolutely terrified.
It was like, stop moving. I was struggling, and he put something against my back.
Stop it!
I thought it was over.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
Wow. See, up in Cairns, they have buses
On the
that
morning
pick
of
you up from the
Thursday,
employment centre
February
and take you to the farm.
2017, Devine Arkins had checked out of her hostel and was waiting at a bus stop in central Adelaide.
He told me I could take a bus to Murray Bridge, so I looked it up, and it seemed fine to me. It was not that far, and it was easy to go there. He told me that he would pick me up at the bus station, so I just had to look for the bus, get there, and that would be it.
Keen to start the next big chapter of her Australian adventure, Devine travelled out of Adelaide an hour south to Murray Bridge. And sure enough, the man calling himself Max was waiting to pick her up.
So you meet him at the bus stop?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
What was your very first impression?
He just looked, like a farmer in working clothes, hard-working man.
The pair set off on a long drive. The farmer was chatty and friendly as they headed down quiet roads through the expanse of the South Australian countryside.
What is it like to retrace your steps?
It's kind of a bit weird because knowing that this was like the road to the place where you like have something horrible happening.
So this is what we should give them as holiday tips for Australia?
Jean Bristow had carefully planned the run to the pig shed on his hobby farm on the edge of Meningie. The direct route, which would involve a drive through town, would have taken less than an hour. Instead, Bristow went on a long, drawn-out journey designed to disorientate and deceive, to make Devine feel she was heading into complete isolation. A 2-hour drive down the back roads that took in 2 ferry crossings.
Oh my God. And he didn't need to do it at all.
You drive and drive
Just to
and
confuse her.
drive, and then you get to the property. Paint the picture for me. What is it that you see?
So we drove to a fence, drove up, went to another
Okay.
fence,
Back soon.
a lot of parts of the farm. Yeah, and then we got to the shed, and he was still explaining, this is where you raise the calves, where you will feed them.
He sounds like a very good liar.
Yes, yes. I was very surprised. Didn't expect anything to happen.
When Davine finally arrived at the pig shed, she felt she was in the middle of nowhere, just as Jean Bristow had engineered it. But the centre of Meningie and the town's police station was just over a kilometre away. Bristow's house, where his wife, son and son's girlfriend were on the day, was hidden behind some trees, but still just 350 metres away. Of course, Davine did not know help was so close at hand, nor could she know that very soon she would desperately need it.
So what happened then, Davine?
Yeah, he wanted to make sure that I wasn't doing any of the drugs, because he told me he had problems before. He wanted to look for needle marks.
I need to check your feet for needle
You've
marks.
done that
Needle
first.
It was
you
a
did.
bizarre demand from her new employer. But as puzzled as she was, Davine thought it best to do as he asked.
So he was like, can I see your arms? They would put the needles there or on your legs. So he wanted to look there.
Was he threatening in that moment to you?
No, he stayed very calm, very friendly. Didn't really change until the very last moment.
This is the awful scene that confronted Davine that day. A filthy pig shed along with animal faeces and plenty of flies. In the corner, an old broken down fridge and a sofa bed. And this is where Bristow intended to keep his prisoner, the backpacker forced to become his plaything. But in those early moments, Bristow keeps up the charade that he must check Davine for drug use. And so he asks her to lie face down on the sofa bed so he can inspect the soles of her feet.
He was really looking at my feet for a while. And and suddenly he just got on my back. And that was it. I was like, stop moving, stay still. Try to grab.
You would have thought he would have done that like 2 hours before instead of driving 2 hours and then checking. What, you're going to drive it back 2 hours?
Grab my arms to put around my back. But I wouldn't let him. I was struggling and I was like, what's going on? This can be happening. Like, what is this? And then I was like, no. And I felt very, very strong. So I felt like I could really overpower, like I can get away.
But then Bristow tells Davine he has a gun and he will use it.
He put something against my back and said it was a gun. I thought it was over. So then I gave up because I thought, if I keep struggling, he would just shoot me. And so I stopped.
You clearly believed him in that moment.
Yes. Was not going to take any chances, if you don't want to die somewhere, not like that, not there in the middle of nowhere.
Bristow first used cable ties, then chains to bind Davine's wrists and chains to shackle both her legs. He stripped her naked, sexually abused her and threatened to kill her if she tried to escape.
In the beginning, it's very commanding, like when I walk in here, you'll be always undressed. You don't put on anything anymore, that I'll have to be kind, that I don't run away, or he would find me and shoot me with the gun.
You must have been absolutely terrified. I mean, shocked, obviously, but terrified too?
Yeah, I was just stuck there, and I thought it would take a while for someone to notice I was gone or even to find me. So I was like, I'm not getting out of here. I thought this is it. This is where I'm gonna die. And
Adding to the physical threat, Jean Bristow played elaborate mind games, telling Devine she was now the property of a criminal gang that trafficked young women.
he would tell me that he was in an organization and there were other people and that they are watching him.
And what was this organisation?
Well, he was working for a boss who would approve girls and then ship them to Sydney or Melbourne for prostitution.
He told her not to trust anyone, that even the police were in on it.
When you heard that, what did you think?
You don't have anything to say. You lose everything. Your clothes, your freedom, your family, your friends. You feel very, very powerless and tiny. Yeah, you're stuck.
It seems like those feelings are still very raw.
Yeah. I think it's important that you have your freedom, and then when someone just takes everything away, and it's very hard.
How close was your relationship with your dad prior to this?
Very close, yeah. Like, we did most things together, you know.
He was your dad?
Yeah.
Kidnapping backpackers.
Someone that I always looked up to.
David Bristow and girlfriend Shane were both at home on the farm that day, along with his mum, Jan. All were oblivious to the horror taking place in their own backyard.
Well, you both know that shed. Can you imagine what that girl went through?
It would be horrifying.
Absolutely.
You'd fear for your life. You'd fear for your safety. You'd fear for everything. You wouldn't know what to do. I'd hate to ever be in that situation.
Did you have any idea, any inkling that there was somebody in that shed?
No. Everything seemed
Was
fine.
that his first time?
Everything was normal.
Coming up, how did you connect seeing that hook and thinking, oh, maybe this can help me?
Will anyone see Devine's messages?
So you were giving out as much information as you had?
Yes. I didn't really know where she is.
And can she outsmart the monster?
Just put on the chains again.
So you chained yourself back up?
Yeah.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
Wow.
Young backpacker Devine Arkins is being held captive in a filthy pig shed in a paddock in South Australia. She thinks she's in the middle of nowhere, a stranger in a strange land, shackled in chains and subjected to vile sexual abuse.
It's like you're kind of in a coma, you know, you can hear everything and feel, but you cannot do anything.
How long did you think that was going to go on for?
I thought it would take months.
No one knows she's kidnapped and there's no hope of escape until her captor opens the door of the broken down fridge. He's looking to remove anything Devine might use to get away. In that moment, she spots something he doesn't. Little metal hooks that could be a lifeline.
So in this terrible scenario, this awful, bleak situation, in the middle of nowhere, the fridge door opens and you see something in the fridge. How did you connect seeing that hook and thinking, oh, maybe this can help me?
There was nothing else. He took my keys, my phone, and I was like, maybe that's it. Maybe I can use it.
Jean Bristow has used pliers to tighten the shackles making them impossible to remove by hand. If she can get to the hooks, Devine hopes she can use them as a tool to get free. By now, she's chained by one arm and one leg. As darkness falls, Bristow leaves the shed and Devine makes her move, not knowing when he might return.
I was so scared, so nervous. As soon as I started, I wanted to move as fast as I could, so I just put the hook in the hole and twisted. On the arm, it was quite easy, just a little twist, and I was like, you know, but then on my leg, didn't move at all. I was like, oh no, what now, you know, but I didn't have any other options, so I just keep trying and pushing harder, and there was no other way, so I just kept trying, and then it got looser and looser, and I was like, oh. So finally, yeah, I was free, you know, I was like, ooh, it worked.
Yeah, and now what do you do?
Now free, does she run? Does she hide? Devine decides not to make a run for it. Instead, she grabs the one advantage she has. Bristow has made a critical error by failing to look for the laptop and Wi-Fi stick hidden in her bag.
Oh.
The computer fires up. Suddenly, she's online.
It worked, so I was like, it's all working, and going fast, put the light down of my laptop and send messages, help messages.
I have been kidnapped in South Australia. I'm on a farm somewhere.
I described the roads that I crossed, went from Mirror Bridge, crossed 2 ferries.
So you were giving out as much information as you had?
Yes. Told him I was taken in a red pickup car, that I'm very scared to run off, that he has a gun.
Please contact the police and Mom.
The messages fired out around the world to family and friends, including fellow backpacker Echo Wang, who was flicking through her phone in far north Queensland.
It just, you know, some horrible words like, please help me to call the police, and I was kidnapped.
With the threat of Devine's kidnapper returning at any moment, the two friends frantically messaged each other.
I just couldn't imagine what might happen to her, but I knew it might be something really not good. And she's really helpless. And yes, that's what I feel at that moment.
You were terrified for her.
Yes.
Yeah. And desperate, I guess. You just want to help so much and you can't.
I'm so far away from her, and I couldn't. I didn't really know where she is.
These are the messages Devine and Echo sent each other that night before the connection suddenly failed.
When the signal got lost, just put everything back as fast as I could, and it was getting very dark, so I
What you doing, buddy?
didn't take any chances to run. So I just put on the chains again.
So you chained yourself back up?
Yeah.
Putting herself back in the clutches of her sadistic captor took incredible courage, an extraordinary calculated move. And as she promised her desperate friend, Echo raised the alarm.
She said she was gonna call the police, so I knew that it's out there. They know it. They're gonna start to search. That now they just have to hopefully find me.
In Belgium, Devine's messages had reached her now stricken family and her stepdad, Luke.
Did you feel, having read those words, that this was a race against time? The time was of the essence?
Yes. The first thought who come to us, how long was he already kidnapped? How many time do we have left?
How critical was the information that Devine managed to get out?
Very critical. The fact that she'd been abducted, the fact that she'd gone through Murray Bridge on a couple of ferries, we wouldn't be able to start anything without her being able to make contact with someone.
For Detective Superintendent Mark Wysick, it was immediately clear that Devine was in danger. How quickly did police act on that information?
Within 10 minutes, they actually asked for a triangulation to commence.
Within 10 minutes?
Within 10 minutes, because we have this terminology, like when the balloon goes up,
yes,
it's all in. And that's what the response was.
I should go get the other one.
Why was
He's
time
just
of
learnt
the
to flop.
essence in this case?
Well, we had great fears for her safety.
I also appeal to that person who may be holding Devine against her will. It is only a matter of time before we identify who you are.
Jean Bristow didn't know it, but as Devine was being driven to the pig shed, her phone had been transmitting signals picked up by nearby phone towers.
So triangulation area.
By triangulating that data, police were able to identify a more specific area in which to search.
We received information that it's sort of Meningi and...
That's Tara, mate. Come on, she's an Aussie.
Yes, what she's saying is right. And the clues that she's given all adds up.
States the obvious.
That she's in this area somewhere, so it's a matter of finding her.
In the quiet town of Meningi, a major manhunt was soon underway by police on the ground and in the air.
That night I heard planes flying over, and I was hoping they were police planes, and they would have infrared or something. I don't know this. Then in the morning again, there were planes flying over. That's what made him panic.
By 2 p.m. on her second day of captivity, a car fitting Devine's description was spotted in a paddock, hidden under a tree. They watched as Jean Bristow got in and drove into town.
So the air wing saw a red ute in the vicinity of the farm and radioed that down to a patrol that actually pulled the ute over. Was being driven by Jean Bristow, and they just had a chat with him, found out who he was, and took his details and took a photo of him.
These were the photos taken in the moments Jean Bristow was pulled over. It was a routine stop, and police had no reason to hold him. But it was enough to rattle Bristow, who raced back to the shed.
And he came back, and there are police everywhere. We gotta go. He told me to put on my clothes, took my backpack with me, and we had to run out of the shed. He was panicking. He was very scared.
Coming up.
He just told me not to trust anyone.
Confused and alone. Why she fears the police. That must have been terrifying to see all these police coming at you. And a son's anger.
Nothing can forgive that.
Played for a fool by his own father.
When someone has been so normal and then this happens, it blows your mind.
That's next on 60 Minutes. Freed from her chains and bundled into the back of her kidnapper's ute, backpacker Devine Arkins has no idea whether she will live or die until Jean Bristow drops her here at a motel in Murray Bridge, the town in which they first met. When Jean Bristow dropped you at the hotel, did he give you any instructions? Did he tell you what to say or what to do?
He just told me to get on the bus, go to the airport, to wear a cap, lay low, and to just go home.
Did you go to police at that point?
No, I didn't trust anyone. I was very scared.
Brainwashed and alone, Devine still believes she's in grave danger. Eventually, though, hunger gets the better of her and she finally decides to leave the motel and go out in search of a cafe, all the while fearing that she will again be picked up by someone from Bristow's sex trafficking ring. As she starts to head back, she's spotted by an off-duty policeman and he calls out her name.
Suddenly there were coming cars from everywhere, people, and was surrounded with police, and then I kind of panicked because I couldn't do anything anymore. I couldn't go anywhere. I'm like, oof, I'm done.
It's only at the police station that Devine finally feels safe. Back in Belgium, Devine's stepfather Luke gets word the family has been praying for.
And then suddenly came the news, it's her, we found her. And then we were so joyful, she's safe, we are going to take her to our police station.
How would you describe that level of relief after so much anguish and concern?
We hugged each other. That's everyone in the house, we hugged each other, we cried, we were relieved. We couldn't speak to Davine yet, but we knew she was in good hands.
As Devine is picked up, Jean Bristow is furiously trying to cover his tracks. He heads home, shaves his head, and tries to dispose of the crime scene evidence. The next morning, police raid the farm and arrest him, much to the shock of his family.
My mum rang me and just told me what had happened, that he'd been arrested for kidnap and rape of the Belgian backpacker. And then there was police everywhere and not easy.
A bad day, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Not your typical Saturday.
By now, Bristow's son David is coming to terms with the reality that his father is a monster.
What happens in that moment? Do you stop loving this person?
Yes, straight away.
Really?
It could have ended up being a murder. It could have ended up being anything. And that's the scary part, because I don't know if this has happened once, twice, 10 times. No one knows. When someone like that in your life has been so normal and nothing has seemed out of the ordinary, and then this happens, it really blows your mind. And just it makes you wonder, has it happened before?
Wow.
As police poured over the farm, they assembled an overwhelming body of evidence. The chains used to shackle Devine were found in a well, and her mobile phone in a water tank. A fake gun bought on eBay a few weeks before the kidnapping was discarded in a paddock. And overwhelming DNA evidence was recovered from the pig shed where Devine was kept prisoner.
It's pretty compelling for a court case when you can recover things that actually match the victim's story. You know, things like the manacles over there, the chains, the fake gun. It all goes to show the court this was what was used.
For David Bristow, it was the chains, custom made into manacles, that revealed the true horror of his father's deeds.
There were chains and bolts and D-shackles and all sorts of stuff that had been constructed, and it's not something that you'd make in 5 minutes. It's something that has been planned, and to me as a farmer, I've never seen a use for something like that. Sort of made me realise that shit, it's real.
It's real.
Yeah.
It's horrifying, isn't it?
Yeah, very, very.
In the 2 years since the kidnapping, Jean Bristow has never shown a shred of remorse, to the anger of his son David and his girlfriend Shane.
Just very much pointing the finger at everyone else besides himself.
So to this day, he won't admit to you or the rest of the family that he did this awful thing?
He is 100% thinks he's innocent.
He just keeps making excuses. He started off with, she wasn't there and I needed help because David wouldn't help me.
The bizarre claims are contained in a series of letters Jean Bristow sent to his son from his prison cell.
I want to reassure you both that I'm not guilty of anything. They've only got a pack of lies to go on from the woman claiming to be the victim.
Oh my gosh.
She's doing it for the money.
Would you have more respect for him if he actually told you the truth?
Yes, I think I would. If he came,
For sure.
if he came out and
100%.
said that he was guilty, and owned up to it, I would have more respect for him.
Do you think you'd be able to find it in your heart to forgive him?
No.
He's still a fucker.
Nothing can forgive that.
It took a huge amount of courage for David Bristow to give evidence, a court appearance that saw him discredit his father's claim that he hired Devine to help him on the farm. When you saw him in the courtroom, what did you think of him in that moment?
I was disgusted.
No worries.
It's the only word I can use. Disgusted.
Hey? Oh.
Helped by his own son's evidence against him, last month, Jean Bristow was sentenced to 18 years in jail. He won't be eligible for parole until 2032, and then, most likely, sent back to his native Britain. When you learned of the outcome of the actual court case, that Jean was convicted and now sentenced, what was your reaction to that?
I'm glad because I'll never get to see him ever again.
Actually, here.
I'm glad that I'll never have to look at him again.
It's in the banners as well.
Is that a hard thing to say, a hard thing to feel?
Yeah, that's what I was just about to go to.
It is quite hard. Something that I think about lots, but never really talk about it.
Now, and it'll take
I mean, this whole incident represents a massive loss in your life, doesn't it?
Yeah. He's dead to me.
Look how organised I am.
He's dead to me. Jane too had the ordeal of facing Bristow one more time at trial.
Sharing.
What was it like to see somebody who, at one time in your life, was so powerful and so frightening, to be so pathetic in the end?
I had to look twice, like, is that him? Because he was very skinny and he looks very terrible and awful.
Thank you to
So when I
him.
saw him, I was like, this is what you deserve.
Drop yours in chat too.
You should feel awful.
This is justice.
Yeah.
I don't know why I yelled that.
Coming up, Friends Reunited. And Devine faces her future. Do you have the sounds that go with the moves? He wasn't very bright, was he?
No, he wasn't that prepared, I guess, for me.
That's next on 60 Minutes.
Never underestimate a woman with her back against the wall.
In the 2 years since she escaped the horror of the pig shed in South Australia, Devine Arkins has been haunted by flashbacks and nightmares.
I couldn't go in the dark. I couldn't walk alone. I tried to walk the dog alone. Then when I couldn't, I cried. And then one day I could, and I felt so like, oh, I can walk the dog. But I was still looking over my shoulders, and I had to like learn everything again, do everything again for the first time.
Come on, come on, please, come on.
Day by day, Devine is fighting back against her fears.
Okay, attack, come on, pressure, come on.
She's taking up self-defense classes, learning skills to disarm a would-be attacker.
Come on, please, come on.
Determined that never again will she be the victim. So you've got the moves.
Yeah.
Do you have the sounds that go with the moves?
No, we don't really do
100%,
karate or
Elizabeth.
kung fu. It's more like boxing and disarming.
You're being prepared.
Yeah.
What is it like to see the old Devine coming back? If not fully back yet, coming back.
She's not fully back yet, no, but we can laugh again. But there is something broken, and if something is broken, it has sharp edges. Those edges will become round. One day it will be good, but not the same anymore.
No one has the right to do that to someone else.
No one.
Echo Wang was Devine's lifeline when she needed her most. Ever since, Devine's been hoping for this moment.
Oh my God.
The chance to thank Echo in person.
Give me a hug. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, 100%.
What's it like to see each other?
Yes, it is. Still cannot believe it.
I'm exploding. I don't know.
You're exploding. You're emotional. Yeah.
Oh, I felt so low in that moment, and you were like the only one responding. And for me, you're like my savior. Like,
No.
yes.
You know, I'm always a good friend there for you.
Can you feel it? Together again with plenty of catching up to do.
Oh, you should definitely go to Great Barrier. It's amazing.
The backpackers who've experienced the very best and the very worst of Australia. Echo played such a big part in this. When you think of Echo, in what way do you think about her?
She's like a hero for me. Like, she helped me. She was there for me. She took action.
You know, if you hadn't got the message out, Davine, if no one knew you were there, what do you think this man would have done to you?
Yeah, I thought he would kill me and I would die there. I feel kind of a bit ashamed in the beginning because you let someone trick you, you let someone fool you.
Did you feel reassured, though, by the police and by your parents that they knew it wasn't your fault, that this was a monster, you know, and he preyed upon you?
They had to tell me a few times, you know. Yeah, I'm glad they got me through that because it was very hard.
I've been pulled down to the deep.
Davine Arkin's obvious strength was there right from the terrifying start.
I'm gonna make it home.
It took sheer bravery and ingenuity for this young backpacker to seize the moment, to ultimately defeat her attacker, to win her freedom.
She did a good job.
To unshackle herself and to send the message out.
Yes.
It was an act of courage, wasn't it? And smart, very smart.
Very smart. It's instinctive. It's courageous. It's all in one, I think. Really smart, really clever.
You've heard
also
her
having a
speak
pretty
about
dumb
this,
perpetrator
and you've heard
helps.
her talk about initially being ashamed of her own role. You know, that somehow she thought she should have not been in that position.
Yes.
How do you feel when you hear that?
No, Davine, you didn't do it wrong. You did it right. He was the one who did it wrong. He was the one to be ashamed of, not you. You must be proud. We are proud of you, of what you did, of what you are.
I will break these walls, I will stand up tall.
Do you feel like you did outsmart this man?
Yeah, it just worked and it felt good that he couldn't get away with it.
I'll be stronger in the end.
I feel very, very lucky how everything worked out. I feel so very lucky. He wasn't that prepared, I guess, for me doing something.
For you beating him?
Yeah. That's it.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the
Tara.
latest from 60 Minutes Australia,
There you go.
There you go. Yeah, she's very lucky that it happened when it did, because, I mean, you only have to look at the Ivan Milat backpacker in the Belangolo State Forest in New South Wales, because that happened between, 1978 right up to the mid-90s, really?
He picked up hitchhikers.
Correct, yes, he picked up hitchhikers, so it was a little bit different. He didn't trick them to come working for him. But in Australia, I mean, there's plenty of places where if you are a backpacker with that working visa, there's plenty of awesome fruit farms and that you can work for.
It's like a beacon when you say backpacker.
Yeah.
It's like to predators.
100%. And that, you know, it's a sad fact that we do have to travel in pairs in that kind of situation, or at least know, like, there is a lot of fruit picking places around, not only in South Australia, but in New South Wales and particularly Queensland, obviously, because they get such good weather up there. Oh, we need to swap around again. Oh, I love how you do that so quick. I didn't even feel it.
You just grab. If you hover over the circle, grab it and drop it.
Oh, is that all? Okay, I'll do this time. I'll just hover where's my mouse. Oh, cool. Okay. Don't know how to do that too.
Nice and easy.
So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of reputable, as I said, places where you can work as a backpacker. And a lot of them actually, particularly up in Cairns, a lot of places you work are actually over the mountain in Mareeba and places like that. And they actually have a bus that goes around all the backpackers' places in Cairns and picks them all up and drops them off at the farms. Yeah, so it can be fantastic. But yeah, you do have to watch out. I mean, come to Australia. I mean, look at us. We have, what, 8 of the 10 top deadliest snakes in the world? We have these spiders that are about this big.
How many of those 18 snakes have you ever come across?
Well, I grew up in the country, so quite a few, actually.
I've come across 2, but...
I remember Dad being under the old EH Alden, giving it an oil change, and I said, Dad, just don't move for a second. And this was just on the road in Werris Creek, like a little town, and there was a baby king brown snake snuggling up to him. You know, it's only a bit deadly. I've chopped one in half with a tennis racket playing French cricket.
We had a couple
I ate one night when we were out camping, and we threw it on the campfire. A big snake. It was a big brown snake, king brown. And we put it on the fire, and after a while we thinking, oh, gee, that smells all right. And we gave it a taste. It's really interesting. Yeah. Well, the Aboriginals all the time. It's got like the consistency of fish. But like everything, it tastes like chicken. But like with the amount of bones in it, like a catfish, you know. So yeah, we have all these spiders and snakes. That's what New Zealanders don't like, is the snakes. They don't have snakes in New Zealand at all. Too damn cold, I suppose. I don't know, but they don't have snakes. And all the New Zealanders that come over here get pretty worried about that. So yeah, we have snakes, dingoes, spiders. What else do we have that's really dangerous? Oh yeah, we got some great jellyfish that really screw you up.
What are those the rock, the fish that looks like rocks and you stand on them?
Pufferfish.
No. Stonefish.
Oh, the stonefish. Yeah. You don't want to play with them. And also too, if you are on the Great Barrier Reef.
Very cute.
Oh, the little penguins, the one on Phillip Island. I've been to see them. They're so cute.
Fucking freezing down there.
Yeah, it is of a night, yeah. But though, I remember I went to the first Australian Grand Prix, motorcycle Grand Prix, down at Phillip Island.
I used to live at Woodland Heights, right next to that Grand Prix track.
Oh, did you? Cool. And like, I was wearing full leathers with thermal underwear and everything because it was cold. But you were getting sunburnt. Because like it was sunny. But it was bloody cold. Yeah, you don't know how dangerous the penguins are. No, I really don't think they are. No, they're little things about this big. So yeah, we have backpack murders. Hey, but we don't have guns. Only the criminals have guns here. None of the normal people.
No, there's no concealed carries here.
No. Oh well, so I hope you've enjoyed my 2 nights
it's nice
of
to do something Aussie. I wouldn't mind.
heavy learning and me learning how to do this. And thank you so much, Jodie, with all your help and doing so many things for me.
Remember that one time when I saw a redback the size of my hand?
Yeah.
Redbacks. Yes, redback on the toilet.
It was a big female he saw, and she was pregnant as, man. She was huge. Yeah.
I was thinking we should do the gangland sort of stuff, like the.
Yeah.
I reckon that could be.
Which the Melbourne ones, obviously.
Oh, whatever. Yeah.
Oh, whatever. Okay, cool. Yeah. That sounds like fun. We could, the Prince of Lygon Street and I could get Dom to come over. Dom Italiano. He's great. His uncle was the great Dom Italiano. That before all the Carlton crew came about, he ran the Melbourne markets, didn't he?
Oh.
There you go.
Yeah, all
And
the
I mean,
the
we knew
Morans.
Gatto and that.
Yeah, Gatto.
Yeah, there was a stage when you wouldn't even have a couch by the
My
brand of
cousin,
Moran, hey?
my cousin's kids went to school with Mark Moran's kids.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oh,
they were
wow.
Preston way.
Yep, yep.
Sellers.
Well,
He's
I
still
saw,
alive. He's the only one alive still, isn't he, Mick Gatto?
oh, yeah, Mickey's, yeah. He
Yeah.
just knocked off a few in self-defense, obviously.
Yeah, I reckon that would be a
Yeah, no,
fun to
that'd
do.
be interesting.
Ah,
Yeah, Carl Williams. Yeah.
yes, and Roberta.
Yes.
I'm actually
And
friends with
Roberta.
Roberta on Facebook. I wonder if
Oh,
she'd
are
talk to
you?
us. Yes, I am. I am.
Wow, cool.
I might
Okay, yeah,
reach
that
out.
sounds like fun. We could, yeah, we could have some fun with that.
Yeah. Now I dropped the link in chat for the upcoming stuff that's happening.
Ah, yes, I saw that way up there.
So
Yep.
I think, yeah, tomorrow night I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a reaction video to this Dobbit hearing.
Oh, you've got to. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. And then I thought we might start the Mark Wilson death penalty trial just on the heels of the podcast, just so that we can look at it from a different angle and see if that, if what we've now learnt
Yeah,
plays
yeah.
any part in how we observe.
Well, why don't we, after the Mark Wilson one, why don't we talk about the last death penalty case in Australia? We'll do that one together.
I think I put some stuff in our joint thing about that. The last man hanged in
Oh,
Australia.
did you?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. Yep.
So we'll do that after you do the
Well,
Mark
you can
Wilson
join me if
trial.
you want to.
I will off and on, but not for the whole time. I
Yeah,
think
that's
I've got
right.
got to get Ricky's house moved next week. I put it off a week because I wanted him to be back at work when I move all his stuff from his house into this one. He's stressing out a little bit. Some flat pack got the better of him yesterday. So he was stressing a little bit.
So what's tomorrow? Thursday, isn't it? Yeah.
Yes, I have to go
Today's
and get
Thursday.
my son to pack up his room over at Ricky's place because it's a bit grotty.
A war with the
15-year-olds.
emus. You know what? Emus are that stupid. They are so
They're
dumb.
the dumbest creatures ever.
Absolutely. They will get spooked and run into fences and shit. They're just idiots. Crazy.
They are.
We used to breed them. My mum used to breed them.
Oh, really? In Tamworth, in New South Wales, where I kind of grew up, a small town near there, they had this place that was like a park you could go to have barbecues and stuff, but it was a nature reserve as well. So you had to go through double gates to get in, kind of thing, so that you didn't let all the animals out. But there was them, emus. There was lots of emus and kangaroos, magpies, lyrebirds. They had plenty of lyrebirds and peacocks. Yeah. And I was just happy reputation. I hate them. They're on our coat of arms. We love them.
No, they peck at you. Anything shiny, they'll try and peck at you.
And all these emus used to be up there. It was crazy. You go visit emus any time you liked in Tamworth. A friend of mine, he hit one. He was a travelling salesman. Used to travel out west. A friend of mine's father used to travel out west selling stationery in New South Wales, and he was driving along in the middle of the night one and he hit an emu. And it come right through his windscreen. He said, the smell of emu guts. He was just covered in emu guts. Yeah. They're delicious.
They're actually really
haven't eaten
strong.
one.
Hey, you haven't?
I have never eaten an emu.
It looks like a really, really dark steak.
Game
really
meat,
dark
yeah.
meat, yeah. And no, not particularly nice. There's only a
I've
couple
eaten
of parts.
buffalo. I've eaten buffalo. People said it was
Venison
nice.
is delicious. Backstrap
Oh,
venison.
yeah.
Oof.
Oh,
I've had crocodile.
Ricky can't
That was
eat
nice.
venison. Yeah, crocodile was all right. Yeah.
Yeah. What else have we eaten?
As I said, I've had snake.
I've had rabbit.
Frogs. I don't get Chinese. Oh, yeah, rabbit. You should try my tandoori rabbit, man. I make a really mean tandoori rabbit. So there you go.
Yeah.
Iguana. What's an iguana?
It's a lizard.
Is that like a gecko, like a goanna?
Big one, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Iguanas. Bye, Teresa. Iguana. What do they taste like? Do you eat them? Do they taste like chicken?
They're
By any
probably
chance?
very similar to a snake, I would think, eating wise.
But
their flesh.
snake.
It's a reptile. So,
Oh, is it go? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I better look up what an iguana is. An iguana is. IGUNA. That's like the other thing you got to. Oh, yeah, I know.
I reckon
That's
more
like
fish.
our. They're not like our gecko. Oh, shit, some of them are big.
Yeah.
They're like our golden water dragons.
Oh.
Rattlesnakes taste like chicken. Yeah. That's why I said King Browns taste like chicken, but did you find they had the texture of fish, Anna? Not like, yeah,
More
that's what I
flaky.
found anyway.
Flaky like tuna.
Oh, right, yep. Cool, there you go. We could have an Australian food thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Not eating chicken's feet, though. You can stick that up your ass. Or snail.
Yeah. Or try it.
Oh, they would be there, I suppose, wouldn't they? Because it's yeah. There you go.
We have goannas. Have you ever eaten a goanna?
I keep thinking of
Ostentatious, I know.
Yes.
So do I. Put it on. That's it. What?
Well, how much can a koala bear?
Yeah. Blue, what's his name? And his three sisters away.
Yeah, no, thank you. No, you can keep that.
Yeah,
shit
nah,
yourself.
pass.
It'd be like eating quail. It's a waste of time.
Oh, them tiny little chickens.
And I can't eat, and even if you bought me a lobster, I would eat the tail, but I won't eat the legs because
The claws. That's where you get them funny things to get into them with.
Nah, fuck that. I haven't got the patience for any of that shit.
I make a beautiful lime mayonnaise to go with my lobster. Or seafood.
When are we
Yeah.
having dinner?
Soup. Okay.
We should
I'm going to have to go to bed. We should. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and bearing through my learning. We'll get there.
Give me a thumbs up.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jodie, so much. Mwah.
Love you all.
The truth's in the house, y'all. Bring it up, breaking it down. Hear that call? Facts and defense, a mighty blend. Oh yeah, justice ain't gonna bend. Gable hits, the facts commence. Defensive moves, we've got the sense. Teamwork strong, no crime.